Good evening. Welcome to the fourth episode of the best damn Soulbound Show. I'm, of course, the magical Mr. Mephisto. This episode is called Telling Ghosts. I am joined by some of your favorite content creators across the entire community. To recap what happened last week, or over the last sort of arc, essentially a cult showed up called the 11th Dawn. They had this sort of notion about no gods but man or no gods but self, really. um yeah, gods are great, and like a sort of a unitarian sort of approach to like looking at the Age of Sigmar, and like a little bit of like an Age of Myth sort of thing where all the pantheons, or where all the gods were once the same pantheon. So like, hey, respect that, that's cool, but then also you got to like look inside yourself and be awesome, right? um but there was this obvious sinister thread working its way through this 11th Dawn. The party became aware of it very, very early on, and they pursued them to essentially uh, the island of Dawn, right? Like this in the Searing Sea. Um, there was this like sort of weird Tower of Babel thing. There was this hooked mountain uh, where they had sort of like a weird like mining colony set up, guarded over by by this person known as the Warden. What was his name? Bandon Sunderbeard. Uh, and I think it was revealed that they were actually extracting Emberstone, right? Is kind of what
Yeah.
you got the gist of. They were extracting Emberstone. Bandon himself had some really twisted plots and ploys. Um, like
Mm.
he was modifying himself based on a core blueprint that was not his. So we don't quite know who's used this like weird key tinkerer. At the end of that whole sort of adventure, the sort of what is at least set up so far to be the big bad evil guy, this main sort of mover shaker of the 11th Dawn, is this Nihilus character. So Nihilus shows up on this essential airship, this demon-faced airship, like surveilling the land, with a cast of misfits essentially behind him. He had an orc amongst him. There were some like gits on like with the like literal like mangler skig, and he was draped in like actual like a mushroom garb. There was like probably like a witch elf, it was like a full on cavalcade of all of the various like grand alliances in tow atop this demon faced airship, as if he has
Mm.
sort of summoned them all to this cause. Um, of note, this orc, I didn't maybe give you this detail before, but with uh, his eyes veiled, you couldn't see like the eyes, but essentially he was wearing like these big like sort of like aviator goggles atop where his eyes should be, riding atop a Maw Crusher, sort of tried to like pursue the party. Um, and the island was being laid siege to when alleged Captain Avender Rail showed up with the Devil Kashmir, which was revealed to be capable of flight itself. Took on the party along with a bunch of the survivors of the island, and pieced out. It was heavily implied that a lot of the chaos created by the Devil Kashmir were illusions and not actual combat and warfare, and they essentially escaped uh, in this chaos and this misdirection. Uh, One lasting image the party got was you all sort of simultaneously swore you saw a white-haired Stormcast Eternal aboard the ship. Short,
Mm.
sort of like with like sort of like this like the bangs like wafting over one side of her face, and
Did we recognize her?
to all your memories, uh, you're fairly certain. I mean, no, that wasn't Oreo, was it? No.
Dun, dun, dun.
But, I mean, it was an airship in the sky like off a distance. There was a lot of chaos going on, but you're fairly certain you saw a literal gold armored, like with a like this big like peregrine falcon on her shoulder, white haired, um, and that's very consistent what you recall Aurea to look like.
Mm.
She, so I
Mm.
think she's supposed to have one braid as well, but you just remember the bangs.
All right.
So, that is like the lasting image that like hangs in the party's mind as they sort of abscond on the sea. Like the big fanfare and like this airship versus airship combat that is sort of it becomes you're the party, you're within the illusion. It becomes obvious that like you're not up in the sky, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
this Maw Crusher goes chasing like things, and the airship goes and does some stuff, and so on and so forth, and the party kind of drifts at sea for a while. Um, Ambient conversation goes on. At some point, you would have mentioned Dorgon Blade Boss, and like Avender's like, oh yeah, he's got an island right off over here, right? And so we end up in the thick of the jungle on one of these islands.
Oh yeah, for point of order, that man was the wanted poster
Correct.
that we got from the main place.
Correct. Right. And so you have this random jungle island on the way back to Anvilguard. That like you sort of like the ship is like parked offshore. You take the old double boat, essentially like the pontoon boat, to shore. And you've already been like cutting through the thick of the jungle for a little bit. Are you certain he is here? I don't know. That's what he said. He's here, type thing, right? When you sort of hear noises up ahead, like sort of these like these like drumming, these droll, this rhythmic noise up ahead. The bugs are like 3 times the size of what they should be, so you have mega mosquitoes like landing on the ogre, and he's like swatting them with one fist. Meanwhile, like the witch elf is like wrestling with the entire form of it, throwing it aside.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some noise up ahead, huh?
Yeah, noise up ahead, and you're in the thick of this jungle on this jungle island.
In my head, what I hear is the Scooby-Doo theme from when they were in the jungle. So it's the doom.
I was thinking the Jumanji sound, but I like that better, like the dun. Yeah, so a little bit different. Yeah, but I like that. Yeah.
Sure. Cool. We go toward the noise.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
In a standard fashion that does not really include stealth, because that is not what the purview of this group is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever need a scout, I'm always ready, but sure, not this time.
So like you are sort of on the cusp of breaking through the jungle brush line, and you're getting to that point where you can start to like spot through the trees. You see like a plume or like a great sort of pyre stacked high. It's a full-on bonfire, and you can catch all manner of like sort of like orcs in like various like skins with like body paint, and like they've got this like big plume going, and they're throwing stuff on it, and there's like other ones just jamming with bones on like weird like skin drums and stuff like that. And you can see off sort of like atop
it's that type of orc. Okay.
It is that type of orc. Yeah.
Savages.
Yeah. And you
Looks
can
like a party.
Those types of orcs are possibly more dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a ghost.
Yeah. They really hate your armor, kinda. And then you see like sort of on the other side, just like not quite the exact opposite side of this like big pyre, this big bonfire they're building. Just like off to the side slightly, you see this throne of like hooked teeth and bone piles and stuff like that. And sitting atop it is a sort of like steel colored haired orc with this like sort of deep, almost like, I don't want to say cartoonish green, but a very like lush jungle green skin, and then this like sort of steel, like blue black mane of a beard that's just like wiry and scraggly and comes down with like this mane, this Klingon mane of hair that goes back, right? And instead of like feathers and bones and stuff to help braid his beard, it's actually swords.
Okay.
All right.
And he stands about half as tall again as an orc really should stand, which is pretty
Sure.
impressive.
Standard. Orcs always get bigger.
Yeah. They get bigger the sweeter they are, right?
Yep. They're like goldfish, yes.
And he's
correct.
sort of like
They're like goldfish.
and he's sort of like leaning back, and he's halfway between the bored king pose or the bored king expression. Babby gank. He's sort of like halfway between the bored king like posture, but also like surveilling his like recent like spoils, and he's got this mighty axe that his like wrist sort of rests upon the haft of, and then the axe is like planted and his boots up on the up on the stem of it, and he's just like leaning back, half bored, but you can see the glint in his eyes as they dance around looking at the activity about. He himself, there's the primal orky quality going on, but he's also got like plates riveted on for like a pauldron. He's like actually got like a breastplate that he's begun to like grow out of, so it's showing off like some sick pecs and just this mountain of an orc. And you're just like,
Okay. So how many boys are around the what's the situation here? So we're on sort of the jungle clearing looking at all this.
Yeah,
what I'm picturing is we're still in the sort of like, again, keeping with the Scooby-Doo montage that undoubtedly suits this scene. There's a bunch of like very large plants, and basically like we went
Yep, exactly.
and we're looking.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we see there's a big bonfire in the center.
Mm-hmm.
How many of the Savage Boys are around that?
So there's probably about like 6 sort of like huts about, and probably about like 18 or 20-ish like of the Savage Boys about with like the face paint and stuff like that. And then you've got him, and he's got like a small like entourage of just like sort of gnarled, twisty, berobed like orc types. Right.
Okay.
What color's the war paint they're wearing?
What's that?
What color's the war paint they're wearing?
White. It's white. It's actually very chalky. Ashy even. Like it goes a little bit more towards the white spectrum than like pure like if they painted themselves with the ash of the plumes of the flames. But like it's got a very chalky, ashy quality to it.
So we're talking about basically 24 orcs here. Plus a boss.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. A lot of orcs. Okay. So all right. Like just logistics in my head. What would the zone situation on this look like if we were talking about, like, let's assume one of us just went bam and shot a guy right here, right? And we were instantly in combat. What's the zone situation look like here? Like, what are we actually talking about vis-a-vis?
Yeah, so you're going to be on certainly like the long range sort of third zone. You're on the outskirts, right? Okay, and then you have the sort of like the no man's land.
Okay.
And then you have like the plume or the fire, and he's on what is essentially about to be a fourth zone on the other side of it. Okay.
Gotcha. Yep, I'm with you. So us, empty zone, bunch of orc boys, then big guy.
Yeah.
With his on.
Boss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we see anything nearby that would resemble where they're getting their war paint from? Like, is there any ash nearby or anything like that?
You see them like you actually see some of them like plunging their fists into the bonfire and walking back with these like their hands like sort of beginning to blister and stuff, pulling in like cinders and stuff like that, and then like plunging it into what seems to be like some sort of like vat of like oily paint in like a big like wooden sort of basin. And then they're like mixing it up and like, and like rubbing it, and like they're celebrating.
Where is that located?
Something.
Where's that look? Like, how far away is that from us?
I mean that's going to be in that third zone of the middle, but on the backside of the pyre, on the backside of the bonfire. Because like
Very
it's
sad.
bonfire, and then like you have this like big vat that they're like throwing ash and mixing it in with like whatever substance they get this like oily paint mixture
Sure.
with.
I love what you've honed in on in this particular scene. There's
I have an idea. I'm trying to
24
collect all the
orcs
data.
ready to murder us, and you're like, let me hear more about that paint. Can we get some more detail on that?
I have an idea if I can collect
Are-
enough information
Are
mentally.
they using too thin coats though? Is what I
Right,
really
yeah,
need to
exactly.
know.
Yeah,
Like,
when they
Here's
apply
what
it,
I
are they
think.
using like all 5 fingers? Is it more of a 2-finger drawing? Is it a full palm? Is it an Isengard type of thing? Like, what do we see
Alright.
the process here? Just want to make sure I
Alright,
really
alright.
understand it.
Here, let me give you. Do you want it in character or out of character?
No, we're clearly out of character right now. I'm just.
No. Do you want the explanation of my idea in character or out of character?
what your
You're
character's
gonna run
thought.
over there and dump a bunch of paint on yourself because you think it'll make you immortal, and then you dance amongst the orcs, killing them while their own war paint stops their blades. Yes, I can fully understand your
No,
plan.
you're half right. You're half right.
Okay.
If there's enough foliage nearby that I can just make myself green enough, and I can entertain my way past there, making them think I'm the scrawniest orc alive, and get the war paint on me, and then I'm gonna start a fight, and I'm gonna get out.
So
You're no. You're
so here
I'm
you,
the scrawniest orc alive.
the female witch elf, are
Yes.
going to attempt to turn yourself into the Grinch who stole Christmas. And sneak in here. Have you vocalized this plan? Like, in fact, let's just stop with this futzing.
You
I think
you
we've
see
got where
the
we need
you
to
see
go.
the thought bubble like actually.
There's like 11 orcs. They know who each other are.
Are you
Let's just-
sure?
Let's just get into character here because this is appropriate. Okay, all right. So, that's a lot of orcs. What's our plan? Are we just gonna, walk in there and start killing orcs? Is that basically what we're doing? I mean, they're savage creatures. They don't
Think.
pose much of a threat.
I think I might be able to start a fight with them, if I
Well,
can
I'm
get.
sure we can start a
That's
fight
what
with
we're,
them.
that's what we're
But-
doing.
but-
That's what we're gonna do.
But without us having to be involved for a little bit, let them whittle themselves down a little bit.
Also,
How?
Can anyone make me green? Big Winter, can
What?
you help camouflage me and make me look green like one of them?
I can make you look green, but you won't look like one of them. You very much look like an elf.
I agree with him.
The color isn't the issue.
Yeah.
I reach up and
I'm
put
gonna,
my
like,
fingers
I'm gonna,
on your.
point at
And
his
I
face.
look as much like an orc as you.
I reach up and put the 2 long, fingers of my paw on your face and just like pull at your lip like this. Okay, like you're missing something here.
Is there any bones on the ground that I can see? Some small bones.
There's some coconut husks and some twigs and stuff like that. You're fairly certain like you maybe like rig
Yeah,
up.
yeah. I'd like to make some orc teeth with some coconut husks.
I
It
mean,
sounds like something
I
God
think this is a good idea.
do, but maybe not an elf.
Can we just?
I'm just like shaking my head at the elf.
This is crazy. There's no way this is going to work.
so
but-
I will give you a performance DN6 to like give yourself orc teeth and like.
Yeah. I'm with
gonna-
it. I
I'm gonna
turned.
have I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
have Big Winter do like a stage aside with Skig for a moment, or maybe
Right. That's where I was just going. I was literally about to say the same thing.
I'm like,
stepped back
I
to
was
Big
going to suggest a diversion, and this would be a diversion because
Well-
it would find him out immediately. Even
Winter.
I
I
would,
completely agree. So the
and I don't
plan
have
is,
the heart to tell her.
nope,
that-
let her go with it.
Yeah,
So our plan is we use the witch elf as a diversion, and then
Yeah.
when she's immediately caught and they try to kill her, we come in and swoop in and help her and kill all them. Right? That's our plan.
yeah, and then I like lock eyes with Peergrim. Everybody knows what's going on, verbal communication.
Okay. We all support this plan.
Yeah, Send her to witch elf. This is a great plan.
Back to you as you're like currently disguising yourself, and they're like, "This is a great plan," and like they have the most disingenuous grins and thumbs up. What was your performance, by the way?
Is this the camouflage?
Yeah, so you're gonna perform.
Is big? Oh, I guess.
Big
I'm-
Winter's gonna roll his
yeah.
essential, his survival, his his survival to like camouflage you, you're gonna roll to like pull the disguise off. So you're gonna get your disguise. DN6.
Two
Sorry.
successes.
What?
2 successes.
Ooh.
I got 2. 1, 4, 6, and 6. I'd like to grab some bones and start drumming away while I'm dancing up there.
I got 3 successes for making a decent shade of green out of these leaves.
Yeah. So you're like green and like padded up some, and you've got this like cloak, but he's made the cloak look a little bit more like primal and fleshy than like scaly, because there's just like leaves and stuff, and you've got like a pretty convincing. You're still the tiniest orc ever.
Yes. I'm aware.
You might be a little bit more of a grot to them. Okay.
I would like to continue drumming away wildly, letting out some high-pitched wahs, and move over towards the white paint.
All right, I'm gonna
roll.
tell Nissa before she leaves. Like, I'm going to get in position for when your disguise works.
I don't roll 6s.
I'm ready. I'm readying a Rune of Inferno.
All right. Well, what's the trigger for your rune? Out of curiosity.
I don't think he means he's actually readying. I think he just means like we're getting ready to do
okay,
a thing
okay.
if she sounds out.
Okay.
He's not like actually readying an initiative action.
Okay.
So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for an opportune moment to turn the diversion up to 11. That's what I'm going to say. And what the actual in-game effect is. I have one of the spells I have is Stoke Flames, which I can take any existing fire, and ramp it up, right?
Okay.
And we did this with like the lava, right? But now I already have a bonfire, which I can basically fill an entire zone with it. So I can take like a minor hazard and turn it into like a major hazard and burn everything in the zone. And so basically, I'm gonna look for an opportunity to make the bonfire explode and wipe out everybody around it.
Okay. Yeah, no, this will not backfire whatsoever. So on the like just the face of the 6s alone, because you had a pair of them essentially, you make it through that sort of like no man's land, just like the high pitched wah, like you sound like it's like Axl Rose, like you know where you are, you're in the jungle, baby, like you're just like wah, like the most like high pitched sort of like out of place wah imaginable, and like there's just like the first 2 orcs on the sort of outside of the fire, right? Because you have this no man's land and you're kind of passing over, and they like look over at you when they look, a little bit down. You've got this far on the sheer hubris of this disguise. But now you're confronting essentially these first 2 orcs, and like one of them's like currently got his fist in the fire, and it's like he's actually like let it, like he's holding the ashes and he's burning a little bit, and he hasn't seemed to notice it just yet, and like here you are, and they're currently about to make up their mind about who or what you are.
Hey, big winner, he's doing pretty well. Sorry, she's doing pretty well. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm disguised as a male orc, apparently.
Oh, sure.
While they're staring me down, I would like to also reach into the ash and just smear it across my face.
Okay.
Yes, I know this will hurt.
Yeah, it's gonna be a straight up like fortitude essentially. So fortitude body, like it's usually more for like resist illness, but in this sense you're like plunging your fist into flame and you're putting it on your face.
What's the DN on it?
4.
Only 1 success on that.
Yeah, look, you feel the pain, but you resist and you plunge your fist in, and you like smear it on your face, and like you're grimacing, and there are now you got to sell it.
With the pain that I'm now feeling, I would like to make a very guttural wah.
Whoa! You summon it forth.
And before they get the chance to question my wah, I just start drumming and dancing away towards the fire.
I still need the entertainment check.
Okay. What do you need on this one?
DN5 on this. DN5 on
Okay.
this one. Yeah.
Just
We are
one?
thoroughly entertained.
They like the party. You're just already like, and like just like jamming. The party just sees them like looking at each other, and they have. It's just the two most confused orcs ever. They have no idea what they just witnessed.
Excellent. Going well.
So now you're like approaching the flank party. You realize that Lanessa's about to, in her like shoddy sort of disguise and like half blind from the soot and stuff she rubbed in her eyes, like she's like thrashing about and she's about to encounter like sort of like the bulk of this group, right? Like the main congregation of them seems to be around this sort of like flank of the fire, moving towards the paint, right? Like this is where like there's essentially a mosh pit of orcs right here.
Yeah, sure. So in between where we are and she is there like a hut that we get? Because they're the nearby orcs are all kind of looking at this ridiculous scene that's going on, so they're somewhat distracted. Is there a nearby hut? Yeah, we can like.
Yep. Yeah, totally.
Who you two?
Yeah, so you get it within one. You essentially shrink by one zone, right? So
Yep.
you've reduced the. Yep. So that you essentially like.
We put on wicker baskets. And like.
You're convinced.
Settle up as they're staring at the mini wood shelf or the mini work.
Yeah, you're fairly certain that the wicker baskets would be more conspicuous. So you just like.
Yeah, we just sneak up. So we're like behind one of the huts, and now basically a zone away from her as she's doing this.
Okay.
And so now it's again to continue the metaphor. So the side of the hut, whoop, dwarf, whoop, skig, whoop, big winner. It's like doop, 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 3 heads around the side.
And you're like peeking around and like
Yeah.
and she just moves around the flank of the fire. So now you see the mosh pit. This is where like the drums are the loudest. They're banging around. This is an indie punk rock concert. They're just throwing bodies into each other. They're throwing stuff onto the fire. They're screaming incoherently. They're throwing up rock fists or wah fists, like just and they seem really pleased with something amid this crowd. And
am I able to see what it is, or can I not see it yet?
No, you're smaller than them. You're looking through about like a sea of at least like 10 or 12 bodies, right?
Okay.
Let me
Well,
know
I'd like to-
when it looks like she gets clear
Okay,
of
Tom.
the zone with the fire.
Okay, when she gets free of the zone with the fire, she's in the zone with the fire. Hey, well, what did you say?
Oh,
Super aware.
I was gonna say before. No, it's too late now. But she entered the zone with fire, which was unfortunate.
Yes.
It's fine. We're gonna roll with it.
Okay.
Is there any orcs on the side that are like what's the general like mass of bodies doing? Like where's my position next to them and the bonfire?
you're just on the outside of it, about to become awkward. If this makes sense, if you've ever been to like a rock concert and you get like kind of the mosh pit forming and you have like the barricade, you're essentially on the other side of the barricade, but not in the mosh pit. It's a little bit awkward. They haven't noticed yet because they're in the moment. They're thrashing about. They're throwing stuff on the fire. They've got something at the middle that they're just super pleased with, like, and like someone, you see blood like just come up in a mist up over the heads of the orcs, and then like, and like whoever like got it is like hoisting it up, and like, and they all just rage after whatever this thing is has just changed hands, and then like an orc comes like crawling out the crowd like on his knees, and he hasn't like quite looked up at you yet, and just like, and you can see the blood pouring from his nose, and he's about to kind of like look upward.
I would like to punch that orc with a wah.
So you just
In my throat. Just punch. Just a punch. Just right up punch him.
yeah, just roll an attack roll.
Okay.
He is of average defense in his state.
What What am I going against here?
He's average. So
I'm sorry. I am good. So
you
3.
threes. Yep. 3.
Yep.
So since you're doing like essentially a punch, like the non-lethal version of
Yeah.
attack,
Yep.
your extra successes become the amount of wah you put into this. So how
Nice.
many successes did you get?
3 total.
Yo, all right. You're just like, wah, and you punch him down, and like another orc to like just like who's like kind of on the outside and he's been cheering at the thing going on, like looks over and he's just like, whoa! He just like points like at you.
I would like to meddle and punch that orc.
Yes! Go ahead. Roll. He is at good right now. So 4s.
But I got 4 this time. Only 2 fails.
Yeah, so like you do non-lethal damage because you know, it's punches, but you catch him like flush in the mouth and the teeth, like the 2 front teeth. Your fist lands right between the sort of like tusks and everything, and just like hit him flush, and his head snaps back. And he like picks you up and he's just like he is like into this. Like whatever just happened, you're his favorite orc right now. And he's throwing you up on top of the crowd and you're now like body surfing.
Well, I'd like to use my contortionist to make sure I don't get caught by anything. But can I see what they're all excited about?
Yeah,
now?
so like you're like so the party just sees the strangest like interaction through like the sort of waft of the distortion of the flame. Like you just see like Vanessa like kind of creeping up, and then this like and like sort of in this moment of like not knowing what to do, just like wah, and then just like this other guy like wah, wah, and it's just like thrown up on top of the crowd and just like floating there now, bouncing about. They're hoisting you around, and you're just like wah, wah. So I do want a athletics check. You have contortionist, so you have advantage. Advantage means it goes down to 3s.
I lean over to Feargrim. They say my people are dumb.
3 successes.
Right on. All right, so like you're just being like bobbing about and like you're like enjoying this. You see this like sort of like at the center you see this like weird skull. So it's obviously a skull, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's very like symmetrical and like sculpted and well crafted. Like crafted being, I guess, the operative term. Like it's some sort of like sculpture of a skull that they're like passing about, and you see this like little like gem, sort of like at the center of its forehead, like a tiny little green gem.
What's my general surroundings looking like right now?
Your general surroundings are you're crowd surfing the 20 orc mosh pit, and at the middle they're just like thrashing about, and like someone's got the skull and someone punches them and takes the skull, and they beat chests, and like they're just all about this skull at the middle. And there's only ever like at any given point like 2 or 3 orcs in the center of this thing, and you have this like whole crowd that you're sort of surfing about. The pyres sort of essentially at your back, and you're kind of like floating and lilting about on the sort of the outer ring of this. And then off sort of to your left, you can careen over a little bit, there's that bucket of paint, that like not bucket, that trough of paint. And then straight up on the platform of bone and tusks and stuff would be the leader with his little entourage. So you're in that like you're approaching the inner circle. If you roll out of this crowd, you're by the paint, and you've got a straight shot at a ladder that goes straight up to him.
Yeah, I'd like to head towards that paint. That was the goal.
What's the party do? Because they've
Oh, we're just gonna let this play out. I mean, at this point,
we're just gonna watch it. Like we're in for dime and for dollar.
I'll be honest. Even I didn't think I was gonna make it this far.
Yeah, we're all pretty impressed at this point. It's not like she's that far away from us. So if we need to go act, we will.
Yeah, like
the plan was as soon as they found out and she created a diversion, we'd head in. But I mean, this dance is sort of like a living diversion, I guess. They haven't caught on, so
How close to us are those like 2 orcs that she wandered by?
They're like, so you have like the pyre at the center. Essentially, on
Mhm.
like this side, you have your hut. They're
Mhm.
over here, like at
Okay.
the yes, and then she's over here, like on the forward side of it, and then you have like the big main guy over here. So like
Okay.
you're a good, you're sort of like, they're the closest thing to you, and she's kind of at the furthest point from you at this sort of like thing. You could kind of flank around to like another set of hut to get like closer to her, and then kind of be equidistant from her versus the leader person.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's exactly what we'll do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You're close enough now. I'm going to require stealth, though. I saw Vince swear. No.
I didn't swear. No, it's fine. 1 success.
Looking for a forge, is that
2
right?
Yeah,
successes.
standard check.
Yeah. And this might be opposed, but you might not necessarily know right now. So.
Sure.
2 successes. 2.
Yeah, and then Haywell.
2.
Cool. All right. 1 second. All right. You're rounding sort of around the backside of like this other like hut. You think you see one of the orcs' heads like huh? Like kind of like, you're not sure if he saw you or not, but he certainly moved his attention away from the crowd. And then you kind of
Fine.
like
I can't tell you how upset I am that we were found out before he was.
If orcs come over here, we'll deal with it. If not, we just stay behind the hut.
Yeah.
That's
True.
all right.
Like clearly these guys are not exactly Inspector Clouseau over here, so it's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Lanessa, you have your 3 successes essentially for like body surfing and stuff. You managed to roll onto the outside of the paint. Now, I need to point out the kind of like the tension here, because like you're on the outside of the mosh pit, but you're the person on the outside of the mosh pit, so you're basically the most exposed you could possibly be, and the leader's right up over here. Okay.
Got it.
So you have
And,
like a few bodies
and,
there.
Are they like way up above, or is it just like it's like waist
Yeah,
high?
they're I mean they're the next zone, quote unquote, over. So it's like a zone,
Okay.
which is like a ladder and then up and then boom.
Well, like
That's-
how far away, per se? Just thinking.
if he wanted to spit on you, he could. If you wanted to spit
Okay,
on him,
perfect.
you'd miss.
Nope. Okay. I don't want to spit.
Like if he wanted to hock a loogie, he's got you dead to rights. But like he's got to really get some like chest in there.
Gotcha. With the paint, I assume I still have these bones I picked up that I've just been hammering away with.
Oh yeah, like the bones you found in the woods.
Yeah.
You've been partying
These
with
non-lethal bones.
Right.
I would like to just put them into the war paint and just start splashing it and throw it everywhere, all over the
You're
mosh
turning
pit that's
into a
going
rave
on.
now. Okay, you're turning.
Yeah.
Sandstorm kicks up.
Immediately.
Yeah. All right. Darude
Yep.
Sandstorm.
The goal is to just get them more and more riled up.
Okay. Whilst you start going in this, you're fairly certain you've caught the attention of this person up on this thing, but you've begun to work this crowd into more of it's a rave now instead of just a mosh pit. Like so, it's like the next step up. Meanwhile, the party, you have like sort of the surveilling point, so you see 3 orcs essentially break away from that crowd and begin to round this hut toward you.
That's fine. Well, I assume there's a part of the hut that isn't exposed to the rest of the crowd?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay, if we see them coming, I'll just be like, okay, so I guess we just wait here, and then as soon as they come around, grab them and get them.
Yeah. All right. So you're gonna try to out initiative them essentially in like a surprise to surprise them completely.
Yep.
Versus okay. Because like you were pseudo spotted, but you have the advantage of the proper like concealment. So.
Yep.
Okay, you win. I rolled a 1.
Got it.
Nice.
It's like a 3.
Go team.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
So do we just all make attacks on orcs or whatever and see what
Yeah,
happens?
pretty
Is that what
much.
we're doing?
Like, let's just attack some orcs. They have a. In this case, they have.
So, are we going into the fire zone?
No.
what's happening
3
now?
orcs are wandering around behind the hut where we are. We're sitting behind a hut, hiding.
Mhm.
Okay? 3 orcs broke off and they're coming to us. We're going to beat them up behind. Again, just think Scooby-Doo. And you're in the right place.
Right.
That's all.
They're no
Right
longer
now,
in the fight, so we're hoodwinking them.
yes, I would just like to point out that a member of the party dressed up as an Italian barber and went in to fool the ghost. Like, we are literally executing a Scooby-Doo plot here. Okay, 100%. So now we're gonna do a little swoop change when they come around behind the thing, and you just see like the smoke and the little fist clouds coming out.
When we
That's it.
take the mask off of the bone splitter leader, is he going to be like the wanted poster guy?
Yeah,
Um.
old man Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have good defenses. These brutes. I agree.
Okay, got it.
I
Yes,
agree,
got it.
son.
Got it.
Child is being loud. Okay.
Good
So
time, I
good.
got you, man.
Oh yeah, initiative, huh? I suppose.
No, you
Well, we
won.
beat 'em.
You won.
Oh, we're
You're-
just
you're
attacking.
fine.
All right.
Yeah,
Because
you
they're too slow, so they roll a 1. So, I mean, big winner started off. 3 orcs wander around. We're just gonna try to get them and kill them.
These 3 orcs, they're just all 3 scouts. No.
It's 3 brutes
that's what
essentially.
we want.
Like they're
Alright.
they're like they have like one of them has like a half axe, like one of them's rocking a club, and one of them's got like
Yeah.
a pair of like bone clubs with like a pike, a spike coming out. You know, like a
They're
nail
like
bat.
they're
Is
more
he
boys,
on-
right?
Yeah.
What's he on? Good.
They're good. What did you ask, Vince?
They're more boys, right? Like that's what I'm picturing in my head, like Savage Orc more boys.
Yeah, exactly.
You meant brute, like flowery language, not unit type.
Right, like as in like yeah, brutes, punks, you know, scoundrels,
I understand.
scallywags.
If 3
yeah.
brutes walked around the corner, this should be a very different situation.
All right. Well, this is actually terrible. I got 1 success. It is a 6 though, so it pierces 1 armor,
Cool.
and that is 3 damage total.
You like you like kind of catch him right up under the pack, and he's just like, and he's like he's
I
beginning
will-
to like lose his stuff.
I will hit him again with
Okay,
with
metal.
with and metal.
Yeah. Okay. Green Brock Lesnar, very good call, heretic.
This is better. Okay, so 2 5s, which I'll make 6s, so it's 6 damage and 2 of it 2 armor piercing.
Yeah, boom, you finish him off. Like you essentially like pierce him,
Right.
and you just like pull it out real quick and just plunge it back in center mass and like take him down. They do have a paint save. It's their armor. Like,
Yeah, sure, of course. Figured.
Like they have an armor score because of the paint save. I just. All right. So next up in the party, whoever wants to go. I'm guessing Feargrim.
Yep.
Because it's the martial stuffs. You got 2 orcs essentially.
He's still muted.
You are still muted, Feargrim.
3 successes, 4 damage, and it stuns the target.
All right. You catch him like right up under the jaw with your hammer, and you just like, and like the blood pours down his face, but he's still standing.
Okay, and I'll metal and I'll hit the other one.
Really? Okay. Metal and just like clock the other one, and like you essentially have
Yep.
like, you essentially have like Big Winter like pinning the other one up against the wall as you just like clock.
This one is 3 damage, and he is also stunned.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they're like you
Oh,
just
just
kind,
spread the stuns around.
you just kind of bash them both in the head.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just stunning. Yes.
All right, you're up, Skig.
Sure. Okay. Well, unusual situation, but that's fine. I'll pick them. This is the first time I've ever made a attack roll. in
Is
this
this?
game.
I was about to ask. Is this the
It's finally
first
happening.
attack roll?
Yeah, it's the first attack roll.
Not
Skig's ever had to
dodge,
make.
not dodging. Take a drink, party, or take a drink, chat gang. Go on.
That's right. Yeah. So you said their defense is good. I did. Wait, it went down a step because they're stunned.
They're stunned.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So they're average now, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Cool. Great. Sounds good. Sorry, I'm just scrolling something real quick.
And then they can't use metal, and they can only attack or thing. And I'm gonna say that they can't like scream for reinforcements while stunned because they're like, blah, blah.
Sounds good. That would be 3 successes, so 4 damage on the first one that he did 4 to.
Yeah, the one that's got like the busted mouth and stuff. You just pick him in the side of the temple, and he just goes down.
And then I will metal, and I will pull it out and pick the other one in the head. That would also be 3 successes, so 4 damage to that one as well.
Yeah, he's still like hanging in there. You managed to like kind of catch him more like in the jaw, or that like like you don't quite get center of the head or center of the chest.
That's cool. I'll metal and finish him off.
Oh.
5 damage.
Yeah, he's got no. So if you want to do your own flavor text,
Sigmar's wrath is sudden but surprising.
if you want to do your own flavor text, you may. But I almost imagine like you just like gah, like just runs up and like kills the one, just like hits the other one, like yeah, and then just like does the big swing overhead where he like brings it down again because he realizes he's still like thrashing,
Yeah. Okay. And then we chill out. Like we wait to make sure we pull the bodies behind the hut, just like, and then we just chill here. And back to Lanissa.
Okay, so now we're back to Lanissa. Lanissa, you successfully throw the pain about.
As I'm throwing the pain, I'd like to make a big, like, kind of like a finishing as they're chanting. Just actually throw the bones and like covered in paint everywhere, and as it's all up in the air, try and just kind of like disappear beneath the scaffolding that the leader's on.
I see. So you just like you tip the trough and throw it all out there.
Yeah.
You need to know that you caught his eye, right? Like it's unmistakable. Like he sees you. As I mentioned before, you're on the outskirts, and then you start doing some flamboyant stuff. The crowd is like totally lost in the moment. They raving. You got them. But I'm gonna need you to actually stealth with disadvantage. So you're gonna need 5s.
Okay, this is gonna be rough.
And he is watching you.
1 success.
All right.
I guess the key thing maybe is, am I successfully out of that zone now?
Well, you wanted to move into the other zone. Party. Y'all need to roll a perception against the 1 success.
Okay.
You're gonna be working with the same 5s though, because all the activity and you're fighting and
awareness, right?
Yeah, awareness 5.
Okay. I got 1.
Okay. Haywell?
I too got 1.
Okay. And Tom, we'll assume you got 1 or 0. But the bulk of the party witnesses like Lanessa do this like grand gesture and go to like kind of move under the scaffolding of this like big throny thing. And poignantly, the party sees like the bucket of paint go up. You see the huge orc. And when the bucket of paint goes down, he is not there. His entourage is still up there. So these two sort of like shamanistic, and then like he's got like sort of like one melee orc up there, like, "My lord, your kebab is ready." Like the orc equivalent of that, right? So the entourage is still up there, and then like the paint trough goes.
I'm going to assume that's his turtle. Continue.
Yeah, and then like he's not there, and then like Lanessa, you see her move under the scaffolding, but like vantage points and stuff, you don't see her directly. And the rave is in full swing. All like 18 other orcs or so are just like, they're fully in this. Whatever Lanessa did has completely incited the fighting, the double wall punching of people. Like it's just pandemonium over there.
Can we keep circling to get behind that big scaffolding?
You can keep circling to get behind the big scaffolding, but you're kind of going to be, I don't want to say equidistant, but you're going to be in like roughly the same sort of perimeter zone working.
Oh, it would be basically the same distance either way, because we're kind of circling around it.
In which case, probably not then. Huh?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we wait a second to see what immediately happens. The big orc is just gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. His
he
entourage.
he like Shredder Ninja vanishes when the like you're just like, how does a huge orc move that like majestically?
Shredder vanishes.
How indeed, right? Like this is
Sure. And the other orcs are all now properly distracted. Like they're completely
yes,
in it
yeah.
to win it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's our cue.
I agree. So like, I mean, I feel like we give it a second. Like we just kind of wait for a second to let them really to see like what happens with the big orc and Linus, to let that moment pass. Let the confusion happen with the entourage as they're like, where'd the big boy go? And then when they start getting confused, then we head in, right?
Okay,
I'm like,
cool.
we should wait a second. And then when I see like the entourage, because I don't think he didn't seem to communicate with them. He just disappeared, which means their next thing is going to be like, where'd the boss go?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're currently mid like, like they didn't even notice it, right? Like.
Then I think our answer is the big mosh pit is a zone away, right?
Yeah, like so you got the mosh pit zone, throne zone, and you're kind of like in this like peripheral, what was kind of the no man's zone, but it shifted around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're one zone away from mosh pit, still 2 zones away from boss. And
you're one. It's one or the other. You're one
One or
from
the
the
other,
mosh
okay.
pit, one from the throne.
one from the mosh pit, one from the throne zone. Cool. Okay, excellent. And yes,
The
excellent
throne
call on that,
zone.
Caleb.
Thank
The
you.
throne
Caleb.
zone. All right. Well, I think it's probably time for us to go bust some heads, right? I mean, we just jump out from behind this hut and start dropping some
fools.
D's.
Yeah, dropping fools. All right, so y'all are like, and you're like in the mid thing, and like Lanessa, you're like you're confident you snuck out from that like mosh pit. You did the whole thing, and then you and you like bump into thing, right?
No.
And like
Thing is big work.
You like you turn and just like I like you. And just this like towering like 8 foot tall orc who's braided his beards with swords like it stands behind you with like a top knot, I'm just like what else do you do?
Did you say he grabbed me, or he just
No,
towering
you
over
just
me?
bumped into him, and like he's just like
okay.
looming behind you, and he's still got like the axe, and he's still like got his like wrist up on it, and it's just, and he's just like he's just if I this is the most Klingon-y orc ever, by the way, like just like the just permanent frowning face, like.
I would like to take my dagger and draw it across just part of my chest to start drawing some blood, and let out a mighty wah as close as and as spittily as I can, covered in this paint and blood, and try to intimidate him, knowing that it's probably going to fail, but give it my best effort.
Roll your dice. It is obvious he sees you're not an orc. But
Yes.
he humors the attempt.
Okay. We got 6 at least? Or just tell you what I get?
So, it would be opposed, but I'm not rolling dice, so I'm just going to give you a 5 and split the difference. So roll your 5. It's 5 on let's see. I'm going to soak the successes. See how impressive you seem to him.
2 1s, a 3, and 2 5s. So more than I thought I'd get.
Were you not born an elf, you'd make a fine orc. And he like punches you on the shoulder, just like, and his entire fist like essentially consumes your torso. Like.
I just try to grunt. Thank you.
Why are you here? For my head?
That and the party.
We throw a mighty fine party.
Shall we leave your entourage and group here and settle this outside of the party zone? Not to interrupt the fun that all your chaps are having.
He like looks past. Spits. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna like cut to the party like chopping him up.
Well, I mean, yeah, we would run out there and just like I assume what's going to happen is like, I don't know if you want to do it through initiative or not. It's fine. We can. It's a lot of work, certainly. It can do some damage. So it's up to you how you want to do it. But I mean, what's going to occur is we're going to move into that zone. Tom's going to do, or Feargrim's going to turn the bonfire into a major hazard or whatever, which I think is like 3 damage.
Well, it's already hold on. It's already a major hazard, so I can turn it up because like a minor hazard would be something like a candle. A major hazard would be like a bonfire. So I could turn it up one step to a deadly hazard, so 5 damage, and I could have it fill the entire zone.
Yeah. So we're gonna cut to like. Suddenly it is a stage and like pillars are falling down in the background and orcs are screaming and on fire and stuff like that. And like and you're just like fighting and then like one of the orcs tries to run and we see Big Winter like point and just like grrr, and like run after it. And he's like, "So you have honor." And like everything's just burning around you as you talk. He's like he slings the axe over his shoulder. And he like points.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and he just like points, and then like you walk out into like he strides you out into like a clearing in the jungle. He like brings his axe down, and he like opens his palm upward. Does the like classic like bring it, and roll for initiative if you wish.
Sure. I'm going to use my obsidian sickle, see what they do.
And to be absolutely clear, we have no concept that this is going on.
No, like everyone's just like it's just burning and murdering and just like and now like we have this like cackling like ha 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 ha, like it's just like all of the orcs are being assaulted and stuff. Like the shaman are on top the like toppling like pillar thing and they're just like throwing spells down and like Skig catches like one of these weird like fireball-y mouthy spells with his like his holy symbol like casts it aside. Like this whole arena of chaos is unfolding.
I'm making a concerted effort to throw the spellcasters into the fire so they get cooked. Like instead of just moving from place to place and throwing people into the fire and then moving to the next one and throwing them into the fire.
It's basically like the most exciting Mongolian barbecue you've ever been to.
He's got like he's grabbed the trough, where the paint was all in. He's like holding it under his like shoulder. He's like putting toppings in it and stuff.
He's dipping the orcs in the paint like nacho cheese and just snacking.
Yeah. I got like the trough under my arm. I'm like dipping the orc in it and then putting him in the fire a little bit and then bringing him back. I like this.
It's all erupting. And you roll for initiative.
My initiative was 9.
9. You go first.
Oh, okay. I honestly thought I wasn't, even with that.
Yeah, you go first.
Nine's
he did the hand. He just.
All right. So let's see.
Yes, 9 is a very fast initiative.
Alrighty. Right now I'm still good since I'm assuming nothing's carried over from before.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna use my new obsidian sickles. We'll see what they do.
Yeah. So you do some. They do an additional 1 damage when you roll 6s. You can essentially make somebody bleed. And this is it's similar to the poison effect in the statuses, except you can physically remove it as opposed to like magically remove it, and magic also works. So it's poison mechanically, but easier to cure. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Gotcha. What's his armor?
He has superb defense.
Ooh, all right.
His armor is a number that you don't know.
Oh, gotcha. So that'll be 3 we'll get through.
Okay.
3 successes, sorry.
Yep. So the sickles do success plus 1, right?
Success plus 1, plus, due to my endeavor, I have plus 1. Oh, it's plus 1 damage, sorry, not plus 1.
Right, because you honed in on
yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So 2 plus 1? Is that the total?
Yes. Yep.
So 3?
Correct.
Cool.
Did you get 3 successes or 5 damage?
No, I got 3 successes. Sorry.
Yeah, it'd be 5 damage right now.
5 damage. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
3 is your S, +1 for the cloak, +1 for the sickle. 5 damage.
All right, I will metal and do that again.
Okay.
And it'll be a little easier this time since it's a step higher. 4 successes.
Okay.
And
No 6s.
no 6s, all 5s.
Okay. So you can Kraith real quick.
I was gonna metal one more time. Just gonna burn it all.
Okay.
Just try and get something through before I do my Kraith.
Does he get to roll a Kraith after every metal?
No, it's
No,
just
that's
one
turn.
Just once a turn, yeah.
5 successes, and 2 of them are 6s.
All right. So he acquires the bleeding template, which is the equivalent to poison.
Okay.
I already know that Vince is looking up poisoned right now.
And that would be a great time for
You are wrong.
Kraith.
What's that?
Kraith did not happen.
Like you just go in there like essentially like 2 quick slashes, like they kind of glance off the armor. You spin backwards, flip the blades up, and like you hook them in his rib cage, peel them forward. He blocks one with the axe, but then you get the other one up underneath his breastplate, and he's like blood's like coming down his chin.
Pretty good. So you did like 5, 6, and 7 damage, basically, right?
yeah.
And poisoned
Yeah.
him.
Oh,
So
yeah.
solid.
Feels
A
good.
poisoned creature's dice pool is reduced by 1 for all tests. That is what the poisoned condition does.
Cool.
And like he kind of like holds like the one sickle like you got up underneath the breastplate, and he's not looking okay. So
Worried I'm about to die.
what are you?
I'm worried I'm about to die.
What's your defense?
Meat. That's what he is.
I am average.
Is worried a defense level?
Oh, worried is a defense level.
Yeah, concern. Defense level concern.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I may be fearless, but my armor is not.
Vince, help. Where's the table of comparing
9 damages.
and stuff?
9 damages. So
9
armor.
damages, and you are stunned.
Well, there goes all my toughness.
And
but,
he just like swings this axe around and just like pow, and he catches you flush in the chest, and you like stumble back, and you narrowly survive because your cloak caught just enough of it, type thing. But you're into wounds, yeah.
I haven't touched the wounds yet, but all my toughness has got out.
Okay, well, yeah. So that just like yeah.
Yep.
In other words, you have 7 toughness, and he just reduced it to 0, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yep,
I do
very
not
good.
have 7 wounds.
Okay. Basically, yes, you are now in wounds, and we'll talk about what that means next time you get injured, because it's not great.
Nope.
He's gonna meddle.
Sure. Well,
Yeah,
we'll
I
find
mean-
out real soon.
Woo!
These 3 were ones.
Yay! That's success in my book.
5. 6 with the.
So 6 damage,
that-
right?
Yep, I have 2 armor, so it takes me directly to 0 wounds.
Okay, so
Now
here's
we
what
know
happened.
This does.
So, since this is the first time this has happened, here's what's occurring. So, obviously, you're at toughness 0, so now you suffer wounds. You had 4 wounds, I assume, right? So, you are now at 0 wounds as well. Okay, super cool. So, here's what's going to happen. Okay? First of all, the wound that wounded you is a serious wound because you suffered 2 to 4 damage from a single source. So, you have a serious wound. Okay? Which fills in 2 spaces on the wound track. All right. So the wound track isn't a damage track. So you know you have like 4 spaces on your wound track.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not 4 damage. That's 4 wounds. Okay. So a serious wound takes 2 of them. You have 2 spaces left on your wound track. right now.
Okay, gotcha.
You with me? Yeah. It doesn't directly translate like damage to. It's about how much damage was it, and then that's how serious the wound it causes, right? Because now he's getting meat. Like this isn't scratches and bruises anymore. Like he just put that axe through your torso and like hit, real muscle and tissue and stuff like that is what's happening here. Okay. So at the moment, that's all that happens. You took some wounds. You are not mortally wounded yet. You will be if you suffer such a wound again and run out of spaces on your wound track. You will become mortally wounded, which will be a new situation. So we'll deal with that in a moment.
Gotcha.
It's actually very akin to World of Darkness, if you're familiar, because they use a wound track too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure.
New initiative, buddy.
Yeah. All right.
And party. I'm going to give a +2 to the person who chooses to roll initiative right now.
Us?
Yeah, because what's going on is like you're sort of having your cinematic moment, and then he's in his like real-time thingy. But like it's become apparent as like Big Winter is like loading up on the toppings and stuff, and he's like, "Ooh, is that cumin?" And he just like reaches down and he like plucks a branch and he like throws it on the like stuff. It becomes apparent that like you've lost track of Lanessa and the orc. So like you're gonna have sort of like a party action, and then they're gonna have their cinematic action.
That's fine. I'll roll just because like I think
it's +2. Each party member is just giving you a +1 to your roll.
We're on a 15.
Okay.
I'm 7.
Remember when I said 9 was pretty good?
Yeah.
All right. I think you know that your party action happens first.
Sure. Hey, where's the witch elf?
You've heard the awareness.
There's just all this green.
Yeah, there's a lot of like screaming and fire. So tell me what we have even the chance to be aware of or see.
And green and blood.
Yeah.
I will let you roll in awareness. It's going to be DN6, and it's going to need 2 successes.
That's fine. I don't want to make an awareness check. I have a different idea. Okay. I'm going to try something different. Yeah, I mean, if they want to make awareness checks, go ahead. Here is what I am going to try.
It's a party action. They can try to do the awareness checks.
Sure, of course. I am going to use devotion and hold up my holy symbol, and I'm going to try to find the nearest heretic. These orcs all worship nothing, just a bunch of nonsense. I'm looking for the nearest heretic, the nearest faith, the person of faith who is a heretic. Which would be like
Lanessa's like just shines like a beacon, like in the middle of the forest.
I'm trying to find heresy.
Like 2 zones away over there, like just like a plume of majestic rainbow energy of heresy, like cascades out of the jungle.
She's over there.
Oh, that's great.
Lanessa.
Yes.
You do not go next.
Figured.
Oh yeah, I got an 8. I don't know if we're saying initiative or not.
No, you're doing the party action.
Okay, that's fine.
Can we become aware of her and move 1 zone that direction?
Yeah.
Basically, like our action was that, and then we take our move.
Yeah, that's good. Yep. You're gonna show up just in time to watch Lanessa get into being really, really hurt.
Yeah, sure. Oh, here we go. So I'll watch this.
Get the popcorn.
Lanessa, you're stunned again.
Woo!
I gave you extra armor. 6.
So you have suffered another 2 through 4 damage while wounded, which means you have taken another serious wound. I assume that erodes the remaining spaces on your wound track.
Correct.
Okay, you are now mortally wounded, which is exciting. Okay. Everyone must die one day, and for those facing the forces of chaos and legions of the dead head on, that day is often sooner rather than they hope. I just wanted to read that because I thought it was funny. If you suffer a wound and do not have enough spaces remaining on the wound track, you become mortally wounded. So at this point, you haven't, like, you're on the cusp of this. That situation has not occurred. You have not suffered a wound while in this position. Okay. but you are out of it. You are out of wounds on your track. So you at the beginning of your next turn, you have to make a death test.
So this is where like you show up just in time to see him, like Lunessa like got the axe under the chest and she kind of like stumbled back, and then you show up just in time for him to bring it up overhead and just like plunge it, and she's down, right?
Okay. You do still technically have actions even while mortally wounded. Like for example, when you start your turn. So here's what's going to actually happen. When you start your turn mortally
Lunessa's
wounded.
turn now.
Yeah. So you've started your turn.
I mean,
Okay.
He's,
right.
I mean, he's not going to meddle, and he has honor, by the way. Like, it really depends on her what he does, but he's gonna like axe her, and like the party comes running up, and like he's just gonna like maybe like sling the axe over his shoulder and like look over, and just say she fought honorably.
Sure. So, well, I don't want to rob Linissa of this moment because there is stuff she can do. So let's.
Go. Yeah.
But I want to walk through this just because it'll be also a learning moment for all of us.
Yep.
Okay. So you start with a death test. A death test uses your highest attribute. So what is your highest attribute score? Body, mind, or soul?
Body or soul, both 3.
Okay. So grab 3 dice. And you suffered a serious wound to become mortally wounded. So your death test is DN 4-2. Okay. So go ahead and roll that out. You're looking for 2 successes at a DN of 4.
2 successes.
Okay. If you succeed on the death test, which you just did, you have managed to cling to life.
Yes.
Well done. You are no longer mortally wounded, and remove the stunned condition you gained from being mortally wounded. I don't think you'd actually remove the existing pre-stun
He
you got from
stunned you
him
from
stunning
his
you.
6
Yeah, from his
axes.
crushing attack. Yeah. So that's fine. You still have the stunned condition. Normally, when you go mortally wounded, you're automatically stunned, and if you make this test, you will unstun yourself. Okay, so just so we're clear. Your toughness remains at 0, and your wound track is still full. So if you take further damage, you become mortally wounded again. Okay?
Just kind of riding 0 right now with that.
You're at toughness 0 and wounds of 0. You're just not counting
gotcha.
at the moment as mortally wounded. You're like he knocked you down, and you're like, ugh! You're doing the like you won't stay down thing. Okay.
Right.
You're Wolverining right now.
That's right. So, the DN of this test is going to increase if you suffer additional damage as well.
Well,
okay.
I am hard to kill now, so I get an extra turn of low DN.
Okay, is that what that means? Is that what hard to kill means? You don't. Okay, cool. Well, hey, there you go. Neat. It's like you foresaw this situation. All right, so now let's talk about what you can do. So you have your turn. You're still stunned, obviously, right? So stun means you can only move or act, and you can't spend metal. Okay. However, okay, you can. You're not currently mortally wounded. You can, on your turn, spend a soul fire to recover all toughness if you want. Okay. That doesn't take an action. It's just a thing you can do. Okay.
Okay.
So you could rocket your. Basically, you just like that would be just representing you. You're still wounded, but you're like. Your will is overpowering.
This is Metal Gear Solid, where like Snake, if you played the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, where Snake just like crawls through a microwave tunnel, he's like, and he just decides to not die. That's what happens.
So you could use a soul fire to recover all of your toughness, right? And then attack. Like you still have an action. He's standing right in front of you. You can jump back on him.
He has slung the axe over his back, and he's like seen the party, and he's just like turning to them, and just like, and he's just said she fought honorably, and he's like turned his back, and you're just like essentially like hefting yourself back up, like I ain't dead yet, and you spit blood, and like you just, right, like.
Hold on. That's not what I do though.
Okay.
So,
you spend the soul fire to have 8 toughness back?
No.
Oh.
I would like to do 2 things with my turn. One, can I drink some Aqua Gyranus to heal?
That would be the action. Would be like slug some Aqua Gyranus.
Okay.
And then you got to drink what, like 10 to recover a wound or something. There's like a conversion rate on how much. I think it's 100 for a wound actually.
No, it's not that expensive. I think you're right. I think you're right the first time. I think it's 10 to 1.
10 to 1, yeah.
Okay, so I only have one action then, so that would be one action.
That would be
Correct.
what you do. Yeah.
Okay, well then, instead of that, I want to go full Goku. I want to walk up to him, not threateningly, and give him 10 Aqua Garanas to heal like the Sensu Bean, and just keep walking away. I have lost. I did not win this fight.
He swings the axe down and plants it, and just like leans. We're at an impasse. And he looks at the party when he says this. She fights honorably, and my tribe burns. But they were weak.
Uh-huh.
What are your terms?
I look at the two people next to me.
He's like it needs to be understood that he can just like kill Lanessa right now.
Sure. My back's turned. I'm just angrily walking away.
He's got a medal
lost
to spend
in
too.
myself.
Like he can just like executioner like and just cull her, right? And Lanessa has been like, you have beaten me. Like he doesn't take your like Aqua Gyarados. You need to know that you had him to wounds too. By the way, like he's just you got through his toughness. He's like one more good dual wield. Like you saw the blood plunge out from underneath his thing. He is bleeding. You can see like the rippling, like sort of waterfall effect of like the blood come down over his like immense like 12-pack of abs because he is a specimen of orc kind. What is your accord? And like Lanessa, you've sort of stopped and you're like kind of like you got like a foot up on like a fallen log and. You know, you kind of got like a good good charge distance between each other, but you're still technically in the same zone, and the party's like sort of here on the flank, and he's like looking at you, but addressing the party.
Okay.
What did the wanted poster say? Just head? These are all just heads, right? That's what wanted posters are in
Sometimes
this world.
dead or alive, but heads are usually easy.
What did the wanted poster say this guy's crimes were? 'Cause we took his wanted poster, so we had plenty of chance.
Usually you just like real quick unfurl it, and you 1,000 D for his head. It does say that, and his crimes are essentially like various like lootings and pillagings, but like it's nothing like direct to Anvilguard or like any like he's just been being an orc and like kicking ass and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't seem to have like any malice aforethought, like with like all this like transcribed crimes. They all sound really like, oh yeah, he totally like destroyed this like farm village or whatever, like once, but like that was like earlier on, and you're like reading through it, and it's just like, oh, like he assaulted like a merchant caravan, but like there's no like, it's not like. Wanted, killed all the humans. There's nothing.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll step forward. Okay. Like just ass step toward him. Okay. So
like he leans back and like the axe now comes back up on his shoulder. And you know that it won't take much between him going from axe on shoulder to somebody getting hit. Like, you know, like,
yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Yes, I understand. To be, you know, just to I mean, I don't have any fear of this guy, nor do I display any fear of this guy. Like, this is a savage inferior, so it doesn't matter. He would get immediately ashed by the light of Sigmar if that's what I wanted to happen, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So I will say, all right. Well, from what it says here, you're not a super bad guy. It seems like you're honorable. You could kill our friend. Obviously, we could kill you. Think we all agree with that?
He just like he's just like nodding, there is no enjoyment in his understanding of the situation. Like, oh, I could kill your friend. Like he's just like,
Sure. He understands this is the terms of the situation.
Yep.
Okay. So, I propose a deal.
Go on. And at this point, I think Lanessa, you maybe. What are you doing?
the group has obviously seen me angry, berserk, and rage at this point, but they've not seen me like inward seething anger that you can just feel, but not being like stabbing everything. And I'm just slowly just walking away back towards the boat, quiet as can be. Like I'm essentially just leaving the situation because I am upset with myself.
Sure. So, here's the deal. I don't really need the bounty money for this. It's not worth that much. So, you agree that no longer will you hurt or maim or injure in any way or kill those who are... You know what I mean.
Like,
Don't play stupid orc.
Like, he looks disappointed slightly that he can't injure anybody. Continue.
Those who are under the protection of Sigmar. The humans and the others of Anvilguard. And those who travel to and fro.
He inhales deeply. And those that don't travel to Anvilguard?
Rob them, avoid killing them if you can. But that's fine. Other races, other peoples that travel the road, my kind, other kinds, do as you wish. You're an orc. You seek after combat and little else. There are plenty out within the mortal realms to test your mettle without you wasting your blade against the innocents of Sigmar, who you would so easily destroy. It's hardly a challenge for you or your kind.
Like
there is no honor in that.
You see the frown of approval come in, just like, they haven't been testing my mettle. Like, he doesn't say it out loud, but his face says it.
Find those who are worthy of actually facing you. And you and we will have no future quarrel. If I find that you have not held up to your end of the bargain, that you have killed or injured humans under Anvilguard. You saw what we did to this camp.
Like, they're there's just like Wilhelm screams and stuff, and they're just like running and they're in fire.
Still burning and screaming properly, which makes a good back.
You're running on fire.
He just like nods. Then
Big Winter, Virgrim.
How's the dwarf feel about this orc getting the pass?
You know the living sea? Oh yes, we go way back.
Well,
It's just a little
and it's as much about saving Linus's life as it is about the orc getting a pass.
Okay.
Also, it's a good deal.
He like reaches in.
He buys a lot of food, and then I pause for a minute and listen to the fire. Suppose I don't give a shit.
Plenty of food.
He reaches up toward his he reaches up quickly, and you think he's going to put his hand up, his other hand on the axe, and he grabs one of his mutton chops and he rips it from his face, and you see this dagger braided in it. And he holds it out to Skig.
I take it.
We have an accord.
Very well. Good.
He just points at Linessa, whose back is to him, and she's essentially walked away. I wish to fight you again. I haven't tasted my own blood in honorable combat in a long time.
What sorry, I didn't write down. What is his name? Because I've already written down Orc Warbass rival. He's my Gary Oak.
Dorgan Blade.
You're Gary Orc.
Gary Orc.
Yeah, this is.
Sorry, what was it?
This is a Dorgan Blade Boss.
Perfect.
Cool. I take the little thing and I say, "All right, let's go. We can get some food on the way."
He drops the axe into the ground real quick, just does one of those flicks of the wrist and and it just hits in the ground, and he sits on it on a tree stump that was made into the hefts of his axe and chopping down the jungly parts around them, and just sits and and he seems to contemplate his next move.
Sure. I assume we all walk away.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Dorgan Blade Boss. I have written down the most honorable savage orc ever.
Yeah. He was good. I'm alright with it.
You can actually put him down as an actual like ally/contact at this point.
Sure.
I mean, you could have killed him for 1,000 D, and yeah, that I think the party would have totally killed him. But I like this way better.
Oh, sure. I mean, he would have never gotten an action off unless he has way more wounds than I think he does.
Yeah, I think he was actually pretty low. It might have been one hit.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows? It doesn't matter. We don't want to kill him. That's not the point. There's no reason to kill an honorable combatant who's willing to do that.
Weird.
I mean, I would have, but I mean, you guys are peer pressuring me.
Sure.
I'm trying to look good here. I'm not about putting an orc or two in the barrel on our way back. But...
Oh no, I just said we got to collect some food. I meant pick up some orcs and like you got to refill them rations. Like
Yeah.
I'll eat orc. That's fine. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm down to 20 days of rations. So.
We're getting low.
We're gonna refill that. Like there's a lot of cooking orcs. There's no reason to let all that meat go to waste.
Yeah.
Like, and you're just like
Like,
plucking orcs.
I think you'll find that these
Like-
are quite
like
delicious,
they-
even for your kind.
They
Nope.
walk.
Nope.
No, hard pass. I get it. But you walk back through like, and it's just been the village burning down, and like all the other orcs, and like you have these like spits already set up of like the orcs, and you're just like plucking them like coconuts and bananas off of the trees as you walk back towards the ship.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
So you've learned
So
it.
yeah, I mean, refill some rations, and we cool guys walk away from explosions. Like all the orcs are all dead and burning, and we just walk back toward the boat.
Yeah.
So, GM question.
Yeah.
Am I like converting this into just rations?
Yeah.
Or should I
Yeah. I think this is.
or should I just separate it to like rations an ogre would eat versus actual rations and stuff
Well, like
that?
I think that your ration amount is already assumed to be in a ogre ration amount. Okay.
Okay.
So like you already have like a conversion rate, like a currency exchange rate of rations.
Yes, we can say like OR for
Yeah.
for
OR,
and
like
normal
ogre
ones.
rations. Yeah.
for-
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. So you got like 10 OR this time.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, because I still have a barbecued Skaven in the barrel. Well, half of it. And I'm
Give the
missing
goblet.
like special ingredients, you know.
Oh, there
Still
was
the goblin
cumin on
body.
this. There was cumin on this island too. Like, so there's. Like,
Oh yeah, I'll
yeah.
take some.
So you have your spice because you have a spice tracker. There's cumin here.
Yeah, because I have some squig parts, those cyan pepper mushrooms, the sorcerer eyes that I picked up, damaged but still good.
Sorry.
I love our game so much.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll just chew on a little bit of whatever cooked orc you have to the side. Honestly, like it's fine with me. Some minor scraps are good for me.
Yeah, and I have I have spices, the inventory item, and so I can make them good.
Yeah, add cumin to the inventory spices that you now have access to.
All right.
Cumin, whatever you want to. Yeah. So y'all hop back on the ship. You roll into the port of Anvilguard. You can see the mists are in full bloom and breadth as you roll up, and they have almost like a pungent sort of palpable quality to them on this day, and you almost catch maybe a slight purple shimmer to them as they seem just a little bit more stoked on this day.
Okay.
The ship pulls out Avender rail. Like he's got the coat up over his shoulders, as he often does. The hands not in his sleeves, and it has been my great pleasure to help you on your journey thus far. I hope you consider me in your future voyages. But
Yeah.
ala-
Of course.
alas, I have I have some things to attend to, and already like essentially like that sort of like odd number of humans that weren't quite the full breadth of the village before because the whole thing got assaulted.
Mhm.
He's already like they're already going out on ships and stuff, and he's like, look, not everyone's gonna believe them about a crazy flying boat, because I don't know, they worship like weird gods and stuff. I don't quite pry in that. But like, if you could tell them that that the devil cashmere, if you just don't tell people it flies, that would really be a big solid for me.
Okay.
Okay. Big Winter makes a mental note to whenever discussing the devil cashmere, he will say it doesn't fly, like out of place.
Right. The
Well,
devil
no one-
cashmere, which is not a flying ship.
Yeah, no one will, even if someone doesn't even ask or bring it up, he'll be like, yeah, it's a good boat, it's big. Oh yeah, it doesn't fly.
You'd be doing me a
Good.
real solid there, Big Winter. And like, and then just like already flash forwarding to all the times you say it doesn't fly on purpose.
Why?
He's like, but if you're ever in the market, you need a ride. May I? And he produces a playing card from 3 Magmadroth Ante, and he hands it to you. You have my call.
Yeah, I'll shake his hand. Yeah, I mean, someday we're gonna have to kill that dude in his big boat.
Yep.
I guess I don't say dude, not that I think about it, but you know what I mean.
Dude.
That guy.
We're gonna have to kill that big armor guy in his big boat someday.
And Linessa, I quite enjoyed our spar. And I am truly sorry I was of less use to you than you wished.
I would like to place my arm upon his shoulder, much as I did before.
He's like quick, like he's got like the quick defense, and you see like the super fast trapping and wrapping, right? Like,
Right. I take my other arm, I pull him in close, literally less than an inch face to face, and I try to whisper as quietly as I can, "Find my mother."
the Sea Queen is not to be trifled with, kin or not. But I'll do my best.
Smile, and I push him away.
He leans back.
But to the rest of the party, who
It looks
probably doesn't understand how
super,
else,
like-
it looks really bad.
Oh no! It's like why
just
why
gave it-
haven't they just like gotten it on already? There's such a tension
That's
going
like
on here.
it's like did they just kiss? Maybe. Remember? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna take our act break real quick.
Okay.
Party, feel free to refresh your beverages, use the restroom, so on and so forth. Talk to chat now, because I know y'all have been. I see Doom and Darkness just showed up, and he says, "Tom, kill someone in the party. Let's spice it up. Backstab Vince." But I'll be right back. Enjoy this act break, everybody. We'll be right back with the essentially the next half of this adventure.
I will be right back as well.
Cool.
All right, chat. This is now a Reddit Ask Me Anything,
Just like that. Go. Fire
But-
questions.
but it's in character. Go.
Yes, you can only ask character-related questions. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. Unless Matt muted us and we don't know. It looks like we're still on. I'm looking over the other side. No, the good part about playing like non-standard human characters is that you get a lot more opportunities for food.
Yeah.
You can just eat a lot. Your food options are a lot broader in the mortal realms.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is shorter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because like orcs.
Professor Xavier asks, "What color are my panties?" I assume this question is directed towards Lanissa,
I would assume so.
and I mean, she'd probably kill you. So what's Big
Hmm.
Winter's bird's name? That would be Bloodraven, named after the Diablo 2 boss from Act 1.
Yes, that's a good name. It's a good. There's a fun boss. I always enjoyed when she died off screen. Would you just be running around throwing crazy stuff around on your second pass through, and she just sort of dropped dead and you didn't even realize it? Does Skig have fleas? No, I would assume Skig takes good care of himself. He's clean. I mean, as much as anybody in this world can. It's sort of a gross, grimy world, but I think Skig would endeavor not to have fleas. And also he doesn't have a ton of fur. Like Skaven aren't actually super furry. There's a lot of like showing skin and then fur around, like their joints and stuff. That tends to be how Skaven are shown.
Yeah. Oh no, he is asking about the ogre. I assume there's a language barrier because, panties doesn't mean that. But are they leopard print? I don't know that Big Winter has ever seen a leopard. Maybe a snow leopard, I guess. We'll say he has. He has seen snow leopards, and they are quite delicious.
I mean, I'm sure Skeg is freeballing. I can say that with absolute surety. He has never even concepted he doesn't even have a concept that people wear something underpants. Like that's not a thing that's ever even occurred to him, or under a robe or whatever.
Look at this group too. None of us are wearing pants, most likely. I mean, maybe the ogre, but
yeah, we're like a cartoon party. Like everyone has,
like the witch elf and the fire slayer do not have pants.
Right. Like, but just the idea that humans wear something under another layer of clothes would not, because that wouldn't even be a concept in Skaven culture. That just wouldn't even that is so far out of the realm of nonsense. You're lucky if you get a piece of cloth you can wear in that culture. So to have just like extra clothes you wear under your clothes, that is, what are you talking about? Am I a king? Like what is this madness?
And then you have pants on top of your pants.
Right. No. It's just that's nonsense.
Yeah, I suppose strangely in this party I have a gut plate and I'm wearing a bunch of animal furs of a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably have the most clothes in the party. Aside from Big in the robe.
Yeah.
Like a large percentage of this party either has no shirt or is just kind of wearing runes, or like a gut plate.
Yeah, because I mean, Skig wears a red robe with gold armor over top.
Yeah, I was just given a cloak, so that's my clothes now.
Oh yeah, you got a cloak that's doubled the amount of cloth you have.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
Skig uses a pick, yes, as a weapon, like a war pick, like a traditional storm vermin hand weapon when they're not using halberds. So.
Mm-hmm. The ogre, are they leopard prints? Oh gosh. What did you talk about while I was gone?
we had a Reddit Ask Me Anything where we answer in character.
I love it.
Oh, and then they just asked about our underwear for 10 minutes. So
yes, we had a lengthy underwear discussion.
Real useful, yeah.
No, I'm going to go back and listen to this totally because I think it's going to inform the adventure. So obviously I'm not about like having one-note weirdo villains and stuff. So here we are.
That's fine. I mean, you can sometimes, and sometimes you don't.
Oh,
like it,
sometimes you gotta have the villain you love to hate, right? Like you gotta have the bad guy. It's so much.
I mean,
fun.
The warden guy was clearly just a big monster dude, and that's fine. He was fun to kill.
Yeah,
it's good to have people with nuance.
Yeah, I mean, he was a tortured soul, but he was bad. So
yeah,
right.
Yeah, whatever he once was, it's been twisted, and you can't like save him, so you fight him. Like it's good to have that stuff. The armor piece in a hand weapon. Right on. All right, so you make it back. You actually find yourself standing back in the bounty board, and you're like,
Just one moment. I am going to help all the humans who we brought back. Make sure they get off the boat. I'm going to direct them toward like the nearest Devoted of Sigmar temple. Tell them, especially the ones who seem to like fully embrace Sigmar, to go there and to like seek to do good works. Basically, I'm going to give them a final speech.
I gave you a specific number of how many like were like totally. I think it was probably like 10 or 8 or something.
Yeah,
like
I believe it. Yes, I believe it was 10. That's right.
Yeah, so you had this core totally devout. You're fairly certain you just made Devoted of Sigmar, like literally that army that we don't have anymore. You just made some of them though.
Yeah, sure. Well, we're gonna bring that army back, one adventure at a time. Yes. No, so I'm gonna direct them back to basically to the temple, and we'll actually take them there. I'll make sure that they get there okay, and make sure that they get in and can like one, just have a place to stay and some like gruel. I mean, it's probably the best food they've got, but it's something, and help them
for
to get on the
you.
road to
It's a
doing good work.
gourmet meal. It's
Yeah,
it's not
Skig
even,
is like, this
it's
place has the best
above,
food.
It's above room temperature and everything.
Yeah. Skig tells them this place has the best food. They will give you your own bed to sleep in. It is a place of immense luxury. You should go here and begin your path to doing good works.
Oversell.
You sleep in your own bed. What opulence!
Yeah, exactly. There's like a cot. It's crazy.
It's
They
got
even give you
posts and everything.
They give you a pillow. They give you an extra thing that you're supposed to put under your head. I didn't even know what it was for when they handed it to me the first time.
I put my tail on it, you know. I thought it was like tail elevation thing.
I thought maybe this was what I was supposed to sleep in.
You tried to crawl into the pillow the first time.
Yeah.
You thought the pillow was the bed, yeah.
Yeah.
So you help them. You really do. I need to note that you're doing this. You're committed to this. It's making the best out of like just a truly terrible situation amongst a world where truly terrible situations happen. And so like this is the kindest extension possible in the age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
But you
I'm getting a window into Skig's long-term goal, which is actually get an army of devoted of Sigmar.
Well, I have long-term goals. Yes, one of this. It's all in there.
But I want to reiterate for this adventure, this walking back into the city, there's a different vibe going back.
Something's
to
off.
Something is off coming back here.
Sure.
And so you're going through these motions and you're doing all this like really truly great work and awesome stuff. By the way, Saya is like, we get like a cutscene of Saya like just like walking into the temple and someone being like, oh, and she like slashes their throat and just like walks up and like prostrates before like the like hag queen of the temple. And like yeah, so like Saya's like here too, by the way. Right on time.
Excellent.
They grow up so quick.
I know. It's gonna kill me.
He's your backup character. We already know this is your backup character.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Saya's your backup character. Yeah. So now please continue. I'm sorry, I interrupted you before. We end up back at the bounty.
No. It's important that you got them off. Are any of the rest of you doing anything? Well, like Skig has a very, he's gotta like actively commit to doing this. It's basically 80 people. You have some time to do a little bit of like scouting or introspection yourselves. Anything y'all do in the meantime?
I'm going to be introspectively praying at the altar of Cain back at the Terathian temple, reflecting on my inability to kill an orc. Honorable or not, but I'm still pretty upset about this.
We'll come to that in a second. Feargrim. Okay, we'll wait for Feargrim to unmute himself. See, my kids are actually watching Moana right now, so like I totally feel for you. Like they're right on the other side of that door. Yeah. Okay. Feargrim, give me a luck check. I'm gonna go ahead and say that you scour the city streets. Now steal their cheese, Vince, says Doom and Darkness. That's...
I saw. Oh, 1 and a 3. Total of 4.
Okay, yeah, no, all right, we'll move on.
That's all the luck I have.
Big Winter.
I'm going to continue my journey, I guess, of kind of watching what Skig does and being seen around him when he's doing good things.
Okay.
One of my goals is like being accepted by these other races enough to, not be freaked out all the time. And so even if I'm not like exactly helping, I'm just kind of seeing what he does to gain these people's trust and just kind of want to be seen around
I want a
these
straight
things
soul
happening.
roll from you. Soul
All right.
roll. DC DN4.
Soul. 2.
Not bad. So like Big Winter, Fjormar Big Winter, the survivor of like like an entire Alfra stun, gone. The last survivor of that, and he's probably got all kinds of like, maybe it's more complicated than it needs to be as an ogre who just wants to eat all the stuff, but like you have this understanding that there's something bigger, and certainly you've been soulbound and stuff like that. So like there's just something more to all of this, right? And you're watching Skig, touched by Sigmar, the Skaven of Sigmar, and like throughout this whole time, where you're just kind of like sitting back, like, why is the rat person just like throwing high fives and like everyone's like digging him and stuff? And you have these like moments of like of the Anvilguard, which is a really hard city to get by in amongst the cities of Sigmar. Like you have this moment of like of pure like almost enlightenment of seeing everybody go. It's not just Skig, it is them. They are doing great things and like making everything more bearable. Like they are fighting evils. They are imposing like their will, which is warped, and it's Sigmar's will because of Skig, and like, but they are just out here. These would be the most unlikeliest pair. We've seen adventurers before. What have they ever done for us? You know, like, and yet they seem to be really actually doing stuff. You haven't quite put your like finger on it, but you feel like you're caught up in something.
All
That
right.
you're
Yeah. So in his perspective, it's probably like these races and peoples are super weak, pathetic individually, actually, but the fact that they can stay in one place, uh, their teamwork is really quite impressive.
Yeah.
And they really are dedicated to these weird gods.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and you see this as like Skig like breaks some bread up a bunch of the like the tiny versions of them, you know, and like pats a couple of them on the head, and they like scatter about and stuff, and he's like, and you're just like thinking and contemplating. Weird how the tiny pathetic races just, yeah, cool.
I mean, if they had to fight for their food, they'd be stronger, but way more of them would die, I guess. Interesting theory.
We're gonna cut back to the temple. Um, uh, Valia, Hag Queen, no, not Hag Queen, Hag Priestess, like walks up. You seem troubled, my daughter. And you'll recognize her from like literally your, yeah. She's the one that's,
She's been around, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I lost matron.
She quirks a
couldn't-
brow and like
I-
leans back, listening for the rest of your story.
I felt Kane's gaze upon me, and I was not good enough.
She leans forward and she puts her face next to your ear, like where her cheeks just hovering off of your flesh. And yet you're still here. And she leans back. Curious. And there's a look on her face that can only be described as purely quizzical. Like, this is not, it's not a face blank of any answers, but like she's mulling over something, but she hasn't solidified what it is. Like, she's making up her mind.
Seek penitence, but I do not know how to seek it. In the current state of my binding.
Her lips purse a bit as she mulls the next set of words that come out her mouth, and she places a hand on your shoulder. I sense that Cain's will is more complex than you realize. And perhaps you should stay the course. But think about, for a moment, the actions that led you to your failure.
Sorry, I can't not but help think about dressing up as an orc before failure.
Orc!
I know what you mean. Sorry, it's just like that's the first thing I like.
She doesn't know about that though. Like,
Right. Now that's out of character in my head. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Like,
I sense there is far more greatness in you, sister. But I feel something's holding you back. Yes. The mighty Terathi's guise has drifted your way a time or two. Which is why we expedited your ascendance. Still, and she like leans away and takes her hand off your shoulder now. Still, I can't help but wonder if perhaps it was a mistake. And she just like turns away and like walks.
I put my head down. Linissa puts her head down, and squeezing her hands tight, begins to draw blood from her palms from her nails. But no open signs of anger or aggression. It's all being held internally.
Yeah, she's up to the statue now, and she's like raises a hand up. But the binding, of course, we must honor it, for we are in Sigmar City after all. And then she just like walks off. I love that I'm watching your face like process.
It's. Linissa has no other actions.
No,
Contemplation. Yeah. Okay.
No, I get it. You're in this moment. So now we do like a hard cut to the party in the bounty office, and we have the portly guard with like the pantaloons and stuff, like leaning back in the chair with like the little drawers and stuff to like collect the bounties, and you're looking at the bounty wall, and it is overflowing with bounties, and things have fallen off, and like they're on the floor in front of it and stuff like that, and he's just like, yeah, I mean, you didn't get the nobody got that Baron guy or Blade guy, I don't know. But I'm on the wrong voice. Hang on. Yeah, no one got that Baron guy or whatever he was, but look at all the work that's come in since the last time you bothered me with the heads. He's just like looking down at the floor.
Uh-huh. A lot of them.
And the party like quickly realizes it's a bunch of like missing persons posters and stuff, and just like ton. You came in here before, and like it took a 10 on 2d6 to find like a bounty worth tracking.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like pretty scant and unimpressive, and it's overflowing with these like missing persons now.
So, is anyone looking into this situation here? Where'd everybody go?
Well, I mean, Anvilguard's a big place. You gotta know. And the guard and the few Stormcast retinue or whatever they are, it's just hard for them, to keep on top of it. And he just like leans back in his chair and he's like, ooh, custard. And he like grabs like a little like pastry.
So, is there a reward for finding all these people?
I mean, each one of them's got a reward, he says. Each one's got a reward. There, it's not much, each one,
I grab a bunch of them.
Are the bounty posters, do they have like dates when they were put up?
Yeah.
Is it like all the same? Like what?
No. It's a staggering of like disappearances and things like that.
Okay.
And you've got intermittent throughout, like, the classic, like, bounty heads and awards for this criminal and stuff that the guards can't. Because, like, essentially, like, the occupying guard, they're not a police force or any... I could give you a lesson on archaic policing and military presences, but this is not something that they do. They don't go in criminal enforcement.
I understand. Yep. So there's a ton of missing people who disappeared. I assume most of these missing people things, the dates say over the past couple weeks. Is what
you were gone, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And some of them predate when you showed up in the city, too.
Sure, there was a small number.
They
indicate, like,
when you were first...
It's all...
Go ahead, Chuck. Yeah.
I say, are they all human, elves, dwarves? Is there a mix?
All manner.
Okay.
Of Anvilguardian species are gone. There might even be like the one bastard git who's just like, maybe the humans will care, and like there's like a git poster in there somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, maybe if he worshipped Sigmar, but
no, you don't know. Like, clearly the git that's missing owes him money already, so like the award is like offset by how much that person owes him money. Yeah, ripping it up already. I see.
No. I'm not ripping them up. I'm full. I grabbed them all, and now I'm flipping through them like one at a time.
Oh, I thought he was making the tearing them up.
Oh, I thought it was the tearing out motion.
No, that would be this.
I thought you were tearing up the git poster.
No.
Yeah, I thought it was
doing this.
Tearing. Yeah.
Think like a book.
So you'll note that like so when you hit the bounty board before, like, yeah, you were looking for like the big bounty heads and stuff like that, the quick buck and yada yada yada. But like you've noticed that like some of those missing persons predate when you showed up.
Sure. There's just been more of them recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a last scene on these, or are they not that descriptive?
It's a missing person poster. It's got a reward if you find the person. Last seen here. And the here is Anvilguard is massive, and they just give you these like block segment things,
like a district or something. Okay,
yeah. It's the vaguest of. It means something to you if you live in Anvilguard, but it's so vague. It's Sisyphean.
There's a lot of money in this if we found all these people. Like, this is way too many people going missing. Look at all this. I hand it over to somebody else.
Posehn.
I've collected all the stack of things.
By the way, it's Guard Posehn is his name, and he's just like, yeah, there's a bunch of people missing. And he's just like, he's going through like a filing cabinet of like awesome pastries, and he's like, oh, this is so many missing.
So there'd be a lot of money, because clearly one source is responsible for all these kidnappings, right? I mean, that's obvious.
That's a mighty big assumption, he says. Like, a lot of people go missing all the time. First time in the mortal realms.
The dates accelerate. Look, here, more. Then there was 2 here, then 3
like
here. There's 5 on this day.
His jaw, like, like he stops chewing it, and like just like he's got that proper chew, and like he's heard it all before from his desk, and just like.
If it was just random, then these would be, as you said, then these would be randomly dispersed, but they're not. So hence, it's somebody picking them.
Well, why are
Pretty obvious.
more of them? He says.
Because somebody's probably kidnapping them for some horrible heretical purpose. But that's okay. So I think if we get all these people, we could get a lot of money out of this. Plus, we could save some people.
Yeah.
Because they're probably all in like one location.
I mean, that's ambitious, but I hope so.
Yeah. Well, let's look into it. Everybody okay with this? What do you think? I mean, it seems like I'm looking up here on the board. I don't see anybody else worth the money. This seems like our biggest chunk of change anytime.
Yeah, if you like compile all the missing folk, that's the biggest chunk of change. 100%.
Yeah, I'm going back to like the last sort of basically 3 to 4 weeks. That's what Skig was doing while they were all talking, right? He was pulling those all down, and this was organizing them by date order, and then totaling the money.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing here. Okay?
Yeah, it's like 3,000 D. If you.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
That's a good amount of money. All right. Well, we'll find him.
He just like leans back and nods. Once upon a time, he says, and then just like you're already out the office, like
Sure.
he's about.
As soon as we walk out the door, I turn to everybody else and say, "Okay, how do we find him?"
Let me see what they say in last scene. I was born and raised in Anvilguard. Maybe I can make sense of them.
Sure.
Yeah, you're recognizing like names and places and stuff like that, like because there's like familial names, and even if you don't know who is who, you know that like names in the blocks and there's an association that like it's like you're beginning to like fill something in when like you hear sort of like off around the corner just like this like commotion, and like at first it's sort of like an abrupt sort of like shattering or bashing noise, and then you hear people like gasping and screaming, and then like a couple of people come running towards you, and you look around the side.
Well, obviously we will Ben Affleck and Batman vs Superman and walk into the trouble.
Yeah, of course. You round the corner just in time to see this like individual, we're gonna say human in this situation, like just sort of like contorting and twisting about and like smashing things and like grabbing and like just sort of like grabbing onto like the clothes of a human. The human like just like manages to shed and like run away, and just like this person completely out of sorts, just thrashing and rushing out and trying to like hit just violently people around him.
Like this person is just like whipping around and going crazy. Like literally, they're
PCPing out right now.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I can probably handle this if it's okay. And then I walk forward.
Like they get into the
I don't
position
actually
where
wait for
like
it.
everyone's scattered away. They've kind of like backed into the darkness of the alley type thing.
Sure.
And you kind of like flank around.
I'm gonna be not looking to the person that's flailing around and try to see what everybody else is doing. Like if there's any other suspicious activity that like.
Ooh, I like it. Roll an awareness.
This or whatever. Yeah.
Awareness 4, DN 4.
Two.
Cool. We'll get back to you in a second. What are you doing, Skig?
I'm going to walk.
I kind of know what you're doing. What I want to know is actually what Lanessa and
Sure.
Feargrim are doing right now.
To skig space, but stay back, but close with daggers ready in case. Yeah, like
bodyguarding
ready
Skig?
to.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
I got back.
Feargrim, what are you doing?
I'm gonna yell at him. Hey, what are you doing? I'm starting moving forward.
All right, Skig. You've got some support. What are you doing?
I walk up to him and revitalize him with the Faith of Sigmar, which will remove all conditions he currently has. So, if he is affected by it.
And let Skig finish, and then you can say.
Yeah. Which, if he's affected by any kind of malady, anything like that, curses, other spells, things like that, things that are giving him any kind of situation or being out of his mind, I will remove all of them.
Oi, what's all this then? And he's like,
Yeah.
Tom, what do you do?
I will prepare to revitalize him with my fist, and punch him in the face if that does not work.
So you're like pulling up the old school gentleman the like.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And you're like sizing up his jaw. Got it. All right. You revitalize him. You brandish your holy symbol and blast him, and he staggers back, and he tumbles over, some some sort of stacked produce crate type things, and just and he leans up and he snarls at you, and he immediately lashes out. Immediately.
Okay.
And yep. The turbo uppercut happens from Firgrim, and he's jawed, and he stumbles back. I'm gonna allow you to describe what you do, Firgrim, because you were already locked and ready to go, and you have Vanessa kind of controlling, looking around, and you're but you were advancing with him.
Yes. So I clearly pop him in the face and position my body between him and Skig.
Yep. You catch him right on the button. You were ready for this. You almost you knew this was gonna happen. And so just pow, turbo uppercut, Nintendo select start, you got him. And he just tumbles back over this crate of produce, and just his jaw unhinges, and he kind of corrects it, and he lunges back towards you. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, you pull out your hammer immediately and, kind of, bash him in the head, and he goes down. And your brains are all cast back in time to the really weird cultist, berserker, contortionist weirdo. Immediately. Not that extreme, but the parallels are unmistakable.
Okay. Let's get this guy somewhere where we can question him in a more controlled setting. This seems strange behavior.
Cool.
Either that or he's just really, really drunk. But he would have stopped being really drunk when I touched him.
Fiormar.
Was I seeing anything during all this other stuff happening?
So you saw an individual in a sort of a long coat, a burgundy long coat, sort of immediately flee. Once it was beginning to be dealt with, that just this person just gave up and moved away. They stood out. Their movements were purposeful rather than erratic and panicked.
I'm as soon as I find the person who...
You see this before the uppercut, by the way.
A crowd would react,
Yeah.
As soon as I see that, I'm hoofing it. Beeline to that person.
Okay. All right. They know the boulder is after them.
Yeah. This is not stealth.
This is gonna
be. I saw you.
This is an endurance test, so we're gonna go with an athletics, and you have advantage because you are the boulder, as aforementioned. So you're on 3s.
Endurance.
Athletics.
Oh, athletics. Okay.
Yeah. And so meanwhile, Skig and Lanessa, you're still holding the line, and you, Lanessa, you're the only one that kind of witnesses Big Winter just charge off, because the commotion is pretty pronounced in this sort of alleyway, right? It's pretty, but you're the only one who notices Big Winter in the immediate sense, just juggernaut his way, off in a direction.
Knowing that Fiormar and Skig probably can handle all of this, I'll take up after him, but at a pace behind Big Winter, because I don't see what he sees. I'm just making sure he's not alone.
You didn't catch the person because you weren't looking for him. So you see Fiormar do the thing, Fiormar Big Winter do the thing, and you're like, oh no, Firgrim, twice bound, and Skig got the thing. I'm gonna go with him. So that's kind of what happens.
Yep.
Cool. All right. And then you also like I'm gonna go ahead and give you the sort of like you're like kind of the fulcrum to the situation. You see them move whatever thing happens into the adjacent building, thing. So you've got that like you kind of look over your shoulder just in time to see them move the thing someplace, right? And you're
So I know how to get back. Okay.
Yep. So we're going to go ahead and roll initiative. I know. I love doing this.
And what?
Roll initiative.
Cool. I assume this is just for the two of them and the dude, since we're not actively participating in this.
No, what I want is Tom and Vince, you go ahead and give a +1 to whoever's going to roll the. You know what? Skiggs is just going to go first, so I'm just going to cut back and forth.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know what I was going to do there. So Skig, you and Feargrim get this body, essentially this bad faith actor someplace, right? You move him around the corner and you move him.
Pull him into a corner, into an alley where he's not where he's a little more controlled and there's not people.
Yeah,
around.
there's actually a wall behind him. He can't hurt anybody in the real sense, and you see this this person, and you've probably bound and you moved him, and he's just completely ravenous, rabid even. The light in his eyes are gone.
Okay. He's just crazy, right?
No. The light in his eyes is gone.
Yeah. Okay. Meaning it doesn't feel like he has a soul anymore.
Kinda. Yeah.
Okay.
Is he like a zombie?
Yeah. I don't want to say zombie because zombie is Nagash is Kubo, and he's just mad if you say zombie. But it's this thing has been robbed of its agency entirely. The light has been snuffed out. Yeah.
Okay.
You are bound with souls. You know what Stormcast Eternals are, even if you don't know the minutia of it all. You're looking at this vessel, and it has been robbed of its essence. This is just a husk acting out on some primal rage urge thing.
Okay. Cool. I am still going to attempt to get him to unburden himself. It technically works on any creature. So we'll see if I can get him to actually speak for a moment about what is going on in his head. So we can. That's what I attempt.
Okay. I want the dice, and
Yep.
we'll have that inform the narrative. Because you're
Sounds
still imposing a will on a thing, even if
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. Okay. So here we go. It's an opposed check, by the way. So this is his soul determination against my soul devotion. Again, fours. So type of situation. Which I have 5 successes.
You have +2 to unburden itself.
Okay. Cool. So technically, it has to answer 2 questions for me.
Okay.
So if you want to do that, if you
we'll
want to
come back to that. We're gonna go to them.
Perfect.
You chase this individual in the burgundy coat, right?
Yeah, I got 3 successes.
Yeah, again, this is alleys and these sort of looming buildings and the mist and the foliage of this ever blooming jungle that is always trying to take back Anvilguard, and then they have to come out and spray it every day, and so you're just moving through this crazy teeming living city. And Lanessa's essentially she's doing the Spider-Man thing where she's on the rooftops and stuff, and she drops down on the one side, dude turns down the alleyway, and the Juggernaut's after me, basically. This wrecking ball is just this inevitability is following me. It's I don't know, I'm gonna dodge it, turns, ducks down an alley opposite, completely diametric to where Skig is, and just dropping down with the cloak, and the cloak falls down like Batman in slow motion. Boom, Lanessa, eyes up, comes face to face, and then just you blot out the sun on the other side as this individual in this crimson coat is pinned and flanked.
All right. And
This
so
is unfortunate, says the individual, and you see his hand move to the small of his back underneath his coat.
I say, for you. I'm going to try to... What are the grappling rules in this game? I'd like to try to stop him from doing whatever he's trying to do with his hand, and, like, I don't know, one hand on his shoulder or, like, body.
To simplify it, I'm going to go with opposed athletics.
Okay.
So
You're basically correct.
Because I'm awesome at shorthanding rules.
Sure.
I'm going to have to go to the rules section.
No.
One of the
Yeah,
three-
what are the rules on
three
grappling?
headings that
Which
say
one?
rules.
Yeah.
3 successes.
You got him by
Oh, wait,
one.
is it opposed? Am I going for 4s?
Force. You're going for force.
All right, yeah, 3.
Yeah. You and like you just. I'm gonna go with like your fist kind of like engulfs his back, and then like your thumb and forefinger like, and they kind of like pull like the small because you're huge, right? So you just like kind of like, and you just like full Nelson him with your hand, and then like your thumb and forefinger like pry whatever it is at the small of his back away. Immediately you see the thing at the small of his back is a syringe with a familiar substance.
Oh, one of these, huh?
And then on the other side it's Lanessa, and you've got the like the sickles drawn and like the Batman cloak down, and like you kind of like look up.
Lanissa, can you unhand this man?
I walk up and I cut off his hands.
Yep, I figured that was gonna happen. And like the syringe like flips through the air, and you like catch it with your hand, and like the other sickle, we didn't even see you like sheath it. Like it was there, it just and you caught it, and you're like holding the syringe in one hand with his hand holding the syringe, and your sickle in your other hand. Perfect. And he's just like, my hand, you monsters, and he's just losing his mind.
Yes, that's very bad.
Cut back.
I'll start like binding his hand and making sure his other hand. Did you get both hands or just one?
She just chopped
going for
off.
one in your
I
hand,
think she
yeah.
just chopped off the like one that had the syringe.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
the one.
Just
Okay.
Yeah,
this one. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna crush the other one and try to I'll metal to wrap up his hand so he doesn't like bleed to death or anything.
You're supposed to be the good guys. He's just like on his knees and being smushed and stuff. And we're gonna cut back to the other alley.
Yeah, well you ain't.
Okay, so I have 2 questions to ask him. Does he like focus enough to answer? Or is he still struggling and stuff around?
Oh, he's writhing about. You know that you got through with like the resonance of your god powers and stuff. Like you know that like some light struck and got there, but this is a person writhing about, like bouncing off the walls and just like, yeah, like they are not real anymore. Whatever light was there is gone and is snuffed out. That is, you don't roll. You don't need anything to know that they are gone. You're
Gotcha.
talking to a husk, a effigy, a memory of a person.
Yep. So I ask him, what has happened to you?
Everything gone. Everything gone. Everything gone. And he like lashes forward, and Fiergrim just like, and like pushes him and forces him back.
Okay. Can you hold him in place? Like, I still have a little while to ask him a question, but I turn to Fiergrim and say, can you please hold him in place?
Fiergrim's got him. He's got him well under control.
I'm going to look over him for, like, wounds or something. Like, I want to see if he's actually physically injured in some way. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, so immediately, like, the veins and the arteries of his entire body are just, like, pulsing with this like sort of like weird purple black goo.
Okay. So like as soon as I look at skin, I can actually see.
Yeah,
like...
you can start to see it, like, because in the heat of combat and moving and running, but like now that you've got, you can actually see just sort of taking over his like. It's very importantly the veins and the arteries. It doesn't like go out into the musculature. It's no bones. Like it's in the veins, but also you can tell that the veins aren't like moving or pulsing anymore. Like, it's just like these threads that just move through the body, and they just, pow, gotcha.
Okay. So he's effectively dying and or already dead, and he just doesn't know it.
Correct.
Is basically what I'm understanding here.
Correct.
Okay. Cool. If you want to go back to that more, I can ask my second question, but that's fine.
Cool, let's go back to the other alley. Well, that's a big winter. In the alley. Yeah. You got the dude in the
So, yeah, I crushed his other hand. Yeah, but you ain't. And then, time to bring him back.
Before we do, I will kind of like search to see if he has anything else on him while he's incapacitated
we're
and
walking and talking.
Yeah.
And you're searching him, and it's kind of a casual affair.
You got the syringe, which is really important. Like, he had the under his back, and you got that part. Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry, like, that's it. Maybe he had like a dagger or derringer or something, but like that was it.
Okay, yeah. So no.
yeah, all right.
Does he have any sort of holy symbol or whatever?
No.
Of this order?
No
like
11th Dawn thing going on. Nothing like that. In fact, I will say in this period in time, Lanessa, you notice a distinct lack of iconography. Beyond the syringe, there is nothing else. Y'all know the syringe.
Sleeper agent.
Just nothing at all.
Mm-hmm. Like a distinct lack of anything. There's no recruitment posters. There's no like tattoo. There is nothing to link this individual to the 11th Dawn. Just the syringe.
Looks like 11th Dawn are getting smarter.
Cut back to the alleyway with Vincent Dunn.
Okay. My only other question I would think of is who did, because I still don't know that they were off chasing this person. So I say, who did this to you?
Me, and he just lunges forward again, and I feel like this is where like fear just strikes him down.
Yep. I think he was already dead. Like I'll actually feel like as he's sort of bleeding out there, as Feargrim smashes his head against the wall, I'll put my two paw fingers against his throat. I assume he has like no actual active pulse.
No pulse, and like the fact that this ichor is escaping his body is purely based on the gravity of getting hit with a thing. There's no pulse. There's no extra, like he's not gushing blood. It's just like the extra stuff is coming out. You know, like it's so mundane and yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It's about this time that Big Winter and Lanessa round the corner with this person with the bound hands, and he's just like being pushed forward. Hand.
Yes.
Hand and a half, I guess.
Sure.
Got the syringe runner.
Oh, was this guy? Is he another 11th Dawn person with a syringe?
He had the syringe, but he doesn't have anything else that would indicate.
Completely looking away from the party, like, you know.
Okay, well, let's talk to him. So like you're holding him or something, right? Like you're just basically pushing him.
Oh, Big Winter's like fist.
Yeah.
It's
just
like
carrying him. Yeah.
It's like a koosh ball. Like his like.
Yeah.
Boom! He's
Exactly.
just got this guy.
So I'll walk up and I'll take my holy symbol, and the first thing I'll do is I'll touch on his. I can see like his hand is mangled.
Oh no!
Big Winter sort of
he's
crushed
missing
his hand.
a hand entirely.
Yeah, and the other one's
one's like just mangled and
Yeah.
crushed to shit.
I'll walk up
Well,
and
we
I'll
still have the other hand. Like, we
Good
brought
point.
it.
I'll heal him. That's my first step. Okay. So I'll restore his mangled hand, and I can't regenerate a missing limb, so it's just gonna
It
close the open wound.
cauterizes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you put it on? Or no?
Not too late for that now. Future
Future
thing to figure out.
Snack sack. Big winner.
I need you to be calm. Is it better? Is the pain gone?
You have known nothing of pain.
You see who you're talking to, right?
Doesn't register, by the way.
Sure. I kind of lean down, and I put my paw against the side of his face, and I say, I had to eat 4 brothers and sisters just to survive my initial litter, to actually become a slave. That was the first thing I remember doing in my life.
Then you've known mercy.
I guess. If you mean it was a mercy to them because they didn't go through the rest of the years that I did, I agree. But now I am saved. And now we will talk, you and I, about exactly what you're on about here and what you did to this man.
I did nothing to him.
Well, then what did he do to himself under your assistance?
He looks over at this, sort of bashed in and mangled thing. Tried to ascend and failed.
I see. So he tried to take one of the vials and it didn't work out well for him, is what you're saying.
I didn't say that at all.
Well, then explain. He tried to ascend and it didn't work out. How so?
He just looks off to the side.
I put my other paw up around his head and turn it back toward me. And the holy symbol's wrapped in between my fingers on the rosary that it has, so it's hanging against the inside of my paw right here, so it's touching his cheek. And I say, my friend, this weighs upon you heavily, this pain. You must unburden yourself. And I'm gonna have him unburden himself as to explain this situation.
Every time there's an unburdening, it just makes me happy.
Wish
Yeah,
to
I'm forward to
have
this.
him self-immolate in this moment, where he would truly rather die than unburden himself. And so
Okay.
what ends up
I
happening,
mean, you can respond to this however you want. It's fine.
is you just you watch him get the desiccated, as in the word desiccate, which we don't use nearly enough as a society, by the way.
Sure.
He essentially seems to become all the moisture in his body and stuff begins to he becomes a mummy in your hands. As
Okay.
and then whilst you're going to unburden himself, because you've got enough force of will, the whole party game behind you, and he's just and something is he doesn't want to unburden himself. Right, he's gonna.
Well, that's the
resist
idea
your
of the thing. Yeah, they're not supposed to want to.
will. Right. But something else, whilst he's
Prevents
resisting
him from
you,
unburdening himself.
and just and you just watch the moisture be stripped from his flesh and bones, and he becomes a husk of a. Thank you so much for that 33-month streak of subs, my buddy Grey Walker. Yes, this is an RPG. It's not D&D, but it is an RPG. Yeah, so you just watch this sort of desiccated, and he is drained,
Okay.
Girl style.
and he becomes essentially this mummified dust in your.
I get it. End of third Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they see the arc, yeah.
Yeah, he
Okay,
drank. Well, no,
Tank
the
Tank
third one, where he drank from the wrong cup.
Oh, he chose poorly.
He chose poorly.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tank Girl's also a good reference. Yes.
Tank Girl's
Okay, so I say, oh, well, that never happened before. Something else wanted him dead before he could talk.
Means we were onto something.
Absolutely.
And Skig, the hand, which I'm assuming wasn't dried husk, like you could try
The
it.
hand has withered a little bit, but not as much as his entire body. And the syringe is still there with its weird sort of amethystine ichor with this like weird tinsel of silver in the middle and this tiny little bead at the center that you missed before.
Well, I hand the vial to Feargrim because he is our scientist.
Yeah, he's the scientist of the party.
Maybe you can unburden the hand. He might know sign language.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hand is just like twisted into one of these.
Perfect.
Feargrim.
I real quick. So what I want to be doing while Feargrim's looking at this, okay? I've seen both of these two people very closely, like face to face, right? The guy who was ravenous and sort of dying, and then this robed person, okay? While this is happening, I'm going to grab the stack of missing posters, and I'm going to be flipping through them, looking for either of these two people. Make
The
sense?
one that was the emaciated weirdo zombie thing, you find their poster.
Perfect. Okay. Please go ahead.
Not the crimson, coated, not cloaked, not robed, coat, like a classic, like sort of like long coat.
Okay.
He has no poster, but the emaciated, like zombie for like just a short term.
I understand.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like rage. I'm thinking rage zombie out of 28 Days Later in my
Yeah,
head.
100%. 100%.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%.
Well, one down on that front.
Yeah.
I will inspect the thing. I will lure it.
So you don't need to roll to know that Urgold is present in this thing. You know, you sense it. There's Urgold here.
There's an Urgold here.
But
I'm going to see if I can figure out anything else about it.
right. So I'm going to give you advantage to roll, so you're on 3s instead of 4s. But also, I'm going to give you the fact that you know these syringes where you had that little bead before and you get the crazy nightmare, blah de blah. There is more Urgold present in this syringe than the last one. You know that for free. Like they've upped the... Hello?
Channel. I'm sure he'll be back in a second. Because
Hey,
it shut us all
it's
off.
me. I'm back. Yeah.
There you go. I think you'll need to reset the image on your Twitch stream because I think we're back in your unfull view.
We're good. What I was saying is there's more Urgold present in this syringe than before. Because you had documented evidence. You like literally went through the whole process from this. There is way more Urgold in this. Way more is like, you know.
Yeah, noticeably more.
Noticeably more. Like the needle before was like just the tip was. The entire length of it is now. Right? But also the at the top of like the sort of like plunger and the like where like you'd hold it and grip it, that has become Urgold now. So like they've upped the amount of Urgold in this syringe. The base thing that you're looking at still looks the same in in that sort of like fuselage. It still all looks the same in there. But like without rolling dice, there's way more Urgold in this thing now. And now you're going to go ahead and roll.
Sweet. Uh-oh. 2 successes. Like, unlucky 2 successes. Let's say it that way.
You don't feel this is a new version of it so much as you just didn't encounter this version before. Because they didn't just go from like a week ago to suddenly having this. The thing you saw before was just like the Flash version of it. They've already had this.
Okay.
And that's what you know is like, oh, you're like, oh, we had the beta form before, and they had already advanced beyond that, and like you're kind of reverse engineering to where you fought the Sunderbeard stuff, and you're like, and you're just beginning to kind of feel like there was more already going on. There was more infrastructure than what maybe you gave them credit for before. They'd already
Feargrim.
deployed this crap already.
Feargrim. How rare is Urgold? We seem to be running into it quite a bit.
Well, it's spread throughout Akshi, and the realms for that matter. But this is quite unusual.
Lanessa, you think to wonder why Urgold. You're just like, you're already on the peripheral of that, like, you're just, why?
Do you think there's something with why they're always using Urgold? It seems to be the common component that hasn't changed.
Well, it does carry. It is in a ensouled type of metal. It carries Grimnir in its depths. But it can be it can puncture flesh easily. And it is an inherently magical metallic substance.
So you like see one of like his like muscles just like brimming with an Urgold rune recently. You know, like you see these like runes on his flesh, and some of them have like scar tissue over them and stuff, and some of them have like flecks of gold through. Like you see, like he's got this in his right. Like I think they'd see that, right? Like the varying, yeah.
Yep.
So you see that
Yep.
in his body, right?
Get real close to one of his runes and just really study it for the first time, trying to actually figure it out.
Lore.
Just looks like gold.
I will flex.
I was like,
Oh,
just looks like
he
gold.
flexes. He's like, oh, when you're admiring my latest ink.
I say, no need to lore.
I'm gonna
I
give
just
you
shrug.
advantage on the lore, so now it's 3s
No.
instead of 4s.
I'm not gonna roll that because I'm just gonna shrug and be like, just looks like every other gold to me. What make like? Because I wouldn't know. It is just gold.
Fine. I was gonna give you a lore roll, but fine.
You say
I don't want it.
these Urgold runes, they give you power because of your god. And I'm asking Feargrim.
Well, they actually they are part of the essence of Grimnir himself. When he was shattered into a multitude, his Urgold is what was produced, and so the very soul of Grimnir is carried within the runes themselves.
Is this power anyone could use, or must you follow his ways or be in tune with his essence or some such?
I do not know of others who wield it, but I do know that it is a valuable metal and it carries magical properties.
Roll theology. Yep. Force.
If it's looking for fours, then I have 2 successes. Yes.
All right. You're fairly convinced that like, yeah, you got to be down with Grimnir a little bit to like even begin to harness it, but like you know that it should retain magical properties regardless, right? So like you don't need to be like purely devoted, but like it would help a lot.
Mm.
That said, like it's gonna be awesome. It's adamantium. Like it's gonna be awesome no matter what, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you understand, Feargrim. with your theology roll.
It could be trying to cheat the
I
power
communicated that.
without the devotion.
Yeah, you communicate that.
And as we've seen, there can be rejections. Imperfect.
Been there. I'm
I
watching.
mean,
I'm looking
having
at his face. I'm like, been there.
Nihilus's whole thing is kind of cheating power. And so this seems, right up his alley.
Mhm.
Makes sense with the tip of the one syringe we found that pierced Feargrim. Maybe we should see if he can have another vision.
Induce a vision. And I look pointedly at like the withered husk of the corpse and like the other dead zombie thing. Well, I can't see the harm.
What's Skig, Skaven of Sigmar think?
I don't think we should randomly stab the dwarf with it. If he goes crazy, then whatever happened to that one, and I point at the one that we had to put down, he was dead. I mean, he was still up and walking around, but he was dead. So whatever this is, he said that he did it to himself, and obviously this guy said he tried to ascend and failed. Whatever that means.
Yeah, I think the Urgold would take to him nicely, but that purple liquid I am less sure about.
Agreed. I think we should keep this for now.
Yeah.
It might be that they've just dispatched with the entire ruse of the 11th Dawn. Like we did before we left, the tide was already turning against that as a cult and dangerous. So it's possible that they've just dispatched with the trappings of that and gone to the next stage, just straight kidnapping, trying to get the people to, fuel their experiments.
Yeah, it seems like they are rejected often, so maybe they're just brute forcing it. Keep trying. 1 in 100 work, 1 in 10 work. And
We probably shouldn't
muzzle
discount that they might just be taking over smaller groups. Maybe 11th Dawn was innocent until they found them. They could be doing this multiple places.
Might have just been a weird cult if they were a bigger entity of, right? That's what you mean? Like they were a bigger group and they just found something to crawl inside of.
Yeah, they were useful idiots, in other words.
Well, it's entirely possible, but either way, I think we should save this, and now we know what we're looking for. I wonder if this robe here is something common. Do you think maybe they switched over to this is the new dress, coat, whatever it is he's wearing?
This cape thing, or not cape, what was it again?
It's a
French
long
coat or
coat.
something?
Yeah, it's a crimson
Long
coat.
coat.
Crimson coat.
Maybe this is how they're dressed now. Could be something. We should keep an eye out. Probably don't just assault every citizen wearing a red coat, but
Yeah, go fight all the red coats.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Rim
attempt
shot.
I'm gonna attempt like a basically impossible tracking check, but I gotta give it a shot.
Hoping you try to put it on.
What? Oh no!
Hoping you try to wear it.
Batman in a little coat, like
tracking, not
trappings, where
no,
wearing
tracking.
things as trappings, right? Like, okay, continue.
I'm gonna look at this guy's boots. The guy that we cut his hand off and he killed himself. I mean, more happened, but yeah, I'm gonna look at his boots, and then it's not as bad as it sounds. I'm gonna check out his boots, and then go to that initial disturbance area, and see if I can track where he came from.
Okay.
I know it's a super busy city. It's probably impossible. I'm gonna give it a shot anyway.
I'm gonna give you a actually bust you down to a 4 because you have the physical actual boot of this person. And you're an Anvilguard, so it's all soggy and stuff because it's jungle cities and they're constantly
everything's wet.
Yeah, it's wet and they're constantly fighting off like rampant plant growth with like these like pesticides that they come on just like and then like they shoot the streets to like try to like keep it from like wholly taking over the city. So I will let you be on 4s instead of.
All right, and I'm a hunter, so I have advantage to
Which
track,
drops it down
find,
to a
track,
3.
hunt.
Yep.
3.
Is that a Thomas the Tank Engine shirt he's wearing?
That's 4 successes.
Okay. You get a lead. Like, in the unlikeliest of, like Big Winter, just, and, this is the most, so I'm, huge and stuff. But also, I've told you forever that I'm a scout and a hunter, and you drop down, you look at the boot, it unveils itself to you like a video game where you press triangle to go into detective mode. You see this traipsing through the town, the boot print where he leaned up against the wall and he kicked off his shoe, and you got the mud splatter on the wall to know he's over there. You walk around the fountain, you're locked in. This is insane. And you go and you wind through Anvilguard with their.
We'll follow him, obviously.
Oh, I'm not just silently moving off.
Yeah.
I'll follow the trail as long as I can.
He steps back and he melts into the brick wall behind you, and you lose track.
Yeah, you just gone.
No, he just he looks at the boot and just and he frowns. He's got I'd imagine the Fu Manchu or some sort of proper Mongolian facial hair, and just
Yes, quite.
Yeah, and just he looks at the boot and just and he looks around, and we get detective mode vision of Big Winter where he just sees all of Anvilguard, and we for the first time ever see it from Predator vision. If you were an ogre, and so it's just food stuff,
there's footprints that are glowing yellow. All the people walking past just says food above all of them. Do not eat.
Friend, do not eat. Yeah. That's what
do not eat, maybe eat.
Eat in case of emergency.
And you see that, and right as the camera's about to pan over the party, he cuts back and sees the footprint, right? No, he's got a line. This guy, we see him veer up towards the alleyway where he was kind of going, but then Big Winter knows that was the feint. That was the misleads you that direction, and then he sees the Phantom Prince, and he sees a pair of prints actually with this person going towards that alleyway, and then he hones in on that secondary pair of prints, and he leads it and winds through the city until you eventually wind down towards what would be a sort of waterway sewer downhill, because sewers classically use gravity. Actually, now they use gravity, by the way. Force mains are a thing. I work with them every day of my life. So you have classic gravity pulling things towards a sewer, and Skink is Skink is oh, look at that infrastructure, proper. He leads you down towards this gate, and you're on this sort of a bank of this waterway that leads into sort of an undercity, and this sort of secondary pair of footprints that you found along the way.
Can I tell anything useful from the second set of prints, or just human boots?
Human boots, roughly same height, weight, blah 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 blah, but from their groupings that they exchanged words, and this other thing went someplace. And now they're winding underneath the city, into this sort of underbelly, into this second layer of the entire city. And Skig, you're just it's just the most.
No, this has promise. This is exactly where we would expect to hide out. Good.
Yeah.
Can I? So we know where this entrance place is right now. That second set of prints you were talking about, can I follow those from here and see where those went?
That's what I gave you with the you've essentially landed on that second set of prints and went someplace else rather than the dead end. What you saw happen was
Oh, I see.
obvious
I see. So
person
yeah, got
did
it now.
thing, and then like obvious person did thing, and that had a handoff
Yeah,
moment.
and then this is the footprints that met him at some point, and then this is the origin of those. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, you essentially there was a handoff there. You're on to that like second layer, or more
Alright,
at this
yeah.
point, like a third layer of like subterfuge and stuff. Like you're keyed in. I was gonna make you go to a library and crap. By the way, everybody. So Big Winter saved you some time. Um, yeah, I saw like.
Oh, dumb books.
Ooh, reading.
Screw your library section of your adventure.
Down with words.
Yeah. No, like you caught on to this essentially like this handoff sort of like extra layer of like this undermarket. You figured out this undermarket just with like tracking and stuff. I need to stress that Big Winter is just like, and he just like looks around and he's like been in winters that just like kill you for free, and he's just like, oh yeah, these like lame asses have like a weird like handoff method, like, oh, we used that like 4 winters ago. Whatever, dude. Like you just keyed in on this like essential like black market exchange and courier thing. You
Sure.
you keyed in on it. It's like you nailed it.
Okay, well, let's
All
go
right,
figure this
well.
out.
Yep.
Looks like we're going to the sewers after all.
Sounds good.
Last act break for the night. Come back.
Onward and downward.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna use the restroom. We're gonna end this, and we're in the last act, and we'll finish it up.
Okay.
Okay.
I enjoy how Mr. Meth has learned not to just give us somebody to follow directly into this campsite ever again.
Yeah, that was great.
It's like,
The-
nope, they're dead.
The My Name is Moana scene in Moana is fantastic. It's so good. It's so powerful. I don't know what you are talking about, where she's just like, so Disney attempted to. Oh, welcome back now. I can. Hey, well.
Truly remarkable. I
Di-
agree with that.
Disney attempted to have these like big moving scenes and stuff like that. That the scene where I am Moana was like her ancestral grandma says, "It's okay you tried, and it's okay that you tried," which is a huge deviation from all of Disney plots where like you just gotta like suck it up and do the thing and right. It's the first movie that says like it's okay, go home, and it's fine because like we respect and we love that you even tried in the first place. And then she has this like sincere moment of like 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 the river or the ocean, it calls me, I am home, like I come from a voyagers, like, and she just has this like supreme moment within herself as opposed to a bunch of external factors telling her to go and be the hero. It's so powerful and so great, and then she just like shows up and just like, I am Moana. It's so good.
Well, even more than that, it's stepping in and accepting her own identity. And what's so fascinating about that, Matt, is that it's because she knows who she is
Yeah,
that she can actually resolve the plot of conflict
Mhm.
and help remind Tafiti who she
Who
is.
she is, yes.
And so, yeah, so the whole thing is about identity, top down, and about who Maui is.
Yeah.
And so every single person is coming to terms with who they
Who
are.
they are. Yeah.
And so, like, every single character, it's a really fascinating study in identity.
Yeah.
The whole frame is about identity and about who are you, who do you think you are, who are other people telling you are. Now, who are you going to be?
Yeah.
It's a really this could be a much larger discussion.
Fight me IRL,
and
it's
I
so
agree.
great, isn't it? Yeah. Like
Moana is a wonderful, wonderful movie. It's probably one of the best ones Disney Disney has done in a long time.
It's true story. Like, but like it brings me back to like when I want to write the story about the weird zombies with syringes and stuff. I'm like, no. I come back to like this is a story about good folk doing good stuff, and the like. I just Moana's great. If you haven't watched Moana yet, I'm gonna look at the camera here. If you haven't watched Moana yet, go watch it. It's fantastic. David Bowie should have been the one singing the bad guy song though. So, but I digress.
Yeah, go watch Moana. There's an ogre in it. It's played by
Dwayne the Rock Johnson. Yeah. So yeah, you end up on this like essentially like floodgate at the base of this this winding path into these like sort of sub-sewers.
Yeah, let's go in.
All right. You head in. And I'm still gonna go off of your initial like sort of tracking roll. It becomes apparent that like multiple pads have trod this place. Going out from stuff, there seems to be some sort of like a hub of activity here, and they kind of like scatter out, and so right. I
assume once we're inside, there's like ankle deep water or something like that, and you can't really follow tracks anymore once we're inside.
Not at the like initial onset, because like you're still like up, and you have the high ground, and it's plodding down, and then you have like essentially a flank of like sort of like soft earth on either side, and then you have like the main trench in the middle. That is the water that goes down. Right. It's right now it's basic. It's not even ankle deep. Right. But as you plunge deeper in, it's going to get bigger and open up wider. So that happens. You sort of essentially hit this like first sort of like landing pad at the base where you and Ogre, it's meaningless. You could like, take a bath here. Like it's not going to throw you into like the great below, the catacombs below. But you have like sort of a trench, and the water begins to pick up pace and like travels down, and now you find yourself in a sort of like a steam vent actually. And I think that both Skig and Feargrim can appreciate the like architecture going on here, where you have like these steam vaults and vents underneath Anvilguard that are like just winding and stuff. So you have this like permeable heat and stuff like filtering around and like cooling around the pipes and the peripherals, and then you have this like water coming in and cooling and stuff like that. So you have this like pseudo underswamp in the city now.
Are there like just I suppose let me know when there's like divergent passageways, but
You're at the
I'm
first
keeping
divergence essentially.
yeah I'm keeping an eye out for some sort of landmark, but like secret landmark, kind of thing, like a marking or uh, some sort of clue that there's a common choice. Maybe if everyone turns left, they put their hand on the left wall to balance themselves, and enough people have done it so it's worn it down or something. Just, things like that, if there are any, or maybe they just memorize the path.
I'm going to give you a survival check here.
All right.
Because seems like a, like, yeah, go ahead. Force.
Three successes.
Yeah, no, exactly that. Essentially, like, you catch some, like, sort of, like, valves, like, off kilter. You can see, like, the rust rings on them and stuff like that, where, like, oh, like, this is the wrong direction. But it's the right direction if you're trying to, like, give somebody a hidden path, right? And you come keen to, you become you become woke to sort of this sort of like urban tree marking of these like steam pipes and stuff. Like your brain was already like aligned to the right thing, and it starts to like stick out like markers or beacons, and
Yeah, I'll point these out as I choose that direction, so people don't think I'm just going in a random area or whatever. But I'll just like point to them or something.
Feargrim, your response is you've got a little bit of like a disharmony where you're like, oh crap, you can do that with dwarf technology, because you were expecting the structural and the working machinations of everything, and you're like, oh, there's people like kind of undermining my technology, right? And so like, but then it all makes perfect sense once he like outlines it. So you can be part of these dice checks going forward when it gets more complicated.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Lanessa Skeg. Anything
Following along? No, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
just following along. Yeah.
perfectly comfortable to let them take the lead.
All right. You wind through this for what must be at least an hour, right? You go across like some scaffolding or a bridge at some point. These sort of like jutting, what must be rivers at this point, go underneath you, and they're kicking off steam. And Anvilguard, you can almost feel it breathing and moving above you at this point.
Okay.
But then suddenly you land upon a particular cavern, following these markings that Big Winter has discovered and Feargrim kind of like corroborates. Where like finally it's dirt and brick again, and you descend, and you're starting to see the familiar, I think at this point, sight of like bones, sort of like scattered and stuff.
Well, it's the mortal realm, so there's always bones.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
bones everywhere. Yeah.
There's skulls everywhere, even on
Skulls
small
everywhere.
cabins.
Yeah.
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 And it's at this point that I'm going to make efforts to be quieter.
Cool. Cool. You proceed into this chamber, and you catch this like sort of spark or flint of green off ahead. And you see like sort of you can tell it's like a sphered or rounded off chamber, and you can see like the pitch of darkness that goes off in various directions, but you're about to hit sort of like a central honeycomb type, like the center of some sort of pivotal point, right? But you catch this green glow. It's unmistakable. There's something up ahead. And as you proceed forward, you see this sort of like half-buried torso, this skeletal remain, but with this like embedded gem right in its chest, this green gem. And you can see a crack through the gem. And a head that looks like oddly similar, though though like far more ornate or detailed than the one you saw back on the island with uh Blade Boss. Is there sort of like atop this torso, and there's no like limbs or anything. You just see a torso and a skull, and boom, and you see this green gem.
Does it look like the same type of rock as was there? Like, does it look like a piece of the same stone, like Emberstone or whatever?
No. This is a different stone entirely. It's just like weird
Okay.
green
Is
green
this a
gem.
stone that Skig would know about?
Like, it
No.
doesn't. You said green. I mean, it's not warpstone, I assume, or otherwise I'd recognize it
Oh,
immediately.
you'd recognize it immediately. Like it's familiar. It's certainly like given off some like extra zhuzh, but it's not any. It's not the realm stone. It's not warp stone. It's not anything you're familiar with. Nothing you've encountered before. Just this like weird sort of like prism of green with like a sort of like crack down it, like just sort of like a lightning bolt.
And
So
this
there's a bunch
body is just kind of on the floor, right in front of us.
Embedded in this sternum, this torso of this thing on the ground, and it's got a head like kind of
I'm gonna
sculpted.
take the gem.
You move up. Why dost thou persist?
Who is talking? The corpse?
Oh yeah, it's just like its jaw like begins to move, and like the voice begins to like echo throughout the chamber.
All right. So I put my boot like on its body to like steady it, and I'm pulling the gem out as I say, because I want the gem.
Is it rotted? Or, like, are we talking, is there flesh on this, or is it a skeleton?
It's the most detailed skeleton you've ever seen,
Okay.
with this weird like fractured gem at the center of its chest, and then this like skull that's like poking out of this long forgotten chamber under the ground.
Okay. Well, Big Winter seems to have this in hand, so I just kind of watch as he's trying to pull the gem out of the thing's chest.
No, please. We'll not be here anymore.
Huh?
I think he means you'll kill him if you take it out. Wait, are you saying you want to be here? You're a weird body.
You see like some like the slightest amount of like a tremor off to the side of where this like buried torso is. I don't want. What dost thou want?
We're looking for whatever's going on down here. We're looking for. What are we looking for? Heretics? Yeah, heretics.
We should always show him the syringe.
Yeah, heretics, syringes, getting to the bottom of it.
Yeah, Feargrim, show him the thing.
This strange like pristine skull, this skull of skulls like twists slightly to the side. Why? And like you get this like weird sort of like garbled trying to search for words and compiling other words into words thing going on. Why seekest that?
Because it's bad. And there are bad people who are doing bad things to other people we're supposed to protect.
Yeah, it's heresy. We're trying to be good.
Exactly. What he said.
Protection. I understand that.
Okay.
We understand that.
I'm only seeing one of you here. What do you mean we?
The head jostles slightly but doesn't like crane or move. We understand that.
Okay.
Hey, are you stuck in the ground?
The head like moves slightly and like looks, and you can see these like these embers of green begin to like flit into the voids that are the eye sockets of this perfectly sculpted head. and they flicker in. Stuck. We are stuck. And just like the voice sort of like seems to like echo through this chamber.
Huh. Can I pull this? Can I pull like the whole skeleton like out of the muck?
Oh yeah, and you suddenly have this like 6'3" tall, like if you were to like sculpt the perfect skeleton, for
Is
your
it
like
not really made of bone?
it's got an ivory quality to it. You know, like it's so mucky and stuff like that. But like but there's it's not like a perfect bone like anatomy. It's more of like an effigy of what bone must look like if you're going to sculpt it together, like a statue of, like if you were to take bones and sculpt them together to be like an homage to
Gotcha.
humanity.
Yeah.
Yep. Phone. Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
And it stands there with this like sort of fractured green gem at the center of its body and this purple shawl draped around its waist, that's been decayed and ragged, and it's like kind of slunked like a puppet, like a marionette with like strings missing. And
Yeah, so I'll say that. I'll kind of put it back down and be like, there you go.
it like kind of like leans and flops against the wall, and then like moves its arm a little bit, and it seems to like kind of slowly pull itself together and like articulate itself up. Why dost thou enter?
We're looking for the syringe thing we told you about. Also the heretics. We're trying to find the kidnapped people.
It reaches down into this shawl on its person, and like it grabs this sort of like stretched out glass. It's this weird sort of like black glass thing, and it like uncorks it, and you hear some like gas sort of escape. Heretic. Not familiar with.
We're looking for bad people who kidnap other people.
It like corks the bottle and puts it back on its person.
So it releases some gas from the thing. Can I smell this gas?
Yeah, this is ancient death. You haven't smelt this since your tribe was wiped the hell out.
Oh, the smell of undeath. Very old indeed. I probably don't say indeed as an ogre. Very old.
So, is there more of you? You keep saying we. Are there like more half muck buried people around here?
It looks about its like head sort of it jerks a bit and like looks off to the side and then looks back. We are we. And it locks eyes with you. And you see these like the flickering green glow begin to intensify a little bit as its like body begins to like animate some, and it's uncorked the vial, and it's almost like it's unrusting.
Okay.
Like, almost like the ossification is, you know.
Okay.
We search all of the underbelly of Anvilguard, and we find the stupid skeleton down here that doesn't understand pronouns.
Stupid. Elf. Stupid. And just like,
So, have you seen other humans around here, or anything like that?
you like reaches like in these weird like sort of like reticulating gestures back towards his belt, and then uncorks another vial. And this like gas, like, and you get the smell again. And it puts it back. Missing. So many missing.
Yes, that's what we're looking for. Missing people.
So many unaccounted for. Help us. Help us help you.
Okay. How do we help you help us?
Yeah, sure.
Put it back in the ground with the head down first this time and keep going.
It's
What do
like
you
head
do?
sort of twists on its like looks over at you. Why dost thou persist?
Look, we're wasting our time when we could be trying to find these missing people.
Why dost thou persist?
Because we have to. This is what we're doing. A lot of
As-
money in it. Also, it's the right thing to do. Also, because we, as a devoted servant of Sigmar, we have to go and recover the innocent people.
Opens another one of these vials on a different hip. The right thing, corks the bottle and puts it back.
Yes, good. You know, the good thing to do, the right thing to do.
Good. What is good?
Not bad.
And it's like heads like twisted and sideways and like these green glowing pupils just like have locked eyes on you, Skig. What is good?
Okay, so I hold up the book. I unsling the book from my waist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Lesson
I'm
time.
glad that you asked. Okay, so good is everything that's in here. Basically, what good is helping people, defending the weak who can't defend themselves, making sure that people are cared for, assisting those in need of aid, and defeating or destroying evil that can't otherwise be stopped or redeemed. That's good. It's pretty simple.
It's like weird hand like unhinges and you see multiple joints and like it tries to grab the book.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like it uncoils like in like Ghost in the Shell where like they just like and then like grabs the book. You allow it to grab the book
Sure.
and like pulls it in front of its face and like holds it in front and then and like unfurls the book. And you see its eyes like flit about, and you see these little like sparks of embers and light, and for the first time, these beads of green glow that have been dimming and pulsing, you actually see like the licks of flame and fire for the first time, and it like closes the book.
I reach my hand over to take the book back.
This is good.
Yep. This is what's good.
We must do good.
Yep. That's right. We're supposed to do good.
And like this weird like marionette act where it like unhinges and like removes its body and contorts back. Who arst ist you?
I'm Skig. I point and let everybody else introduce themselves to the skeleton.
Oh yeah. I introduced myself to the skeleton, sure.
Let out a heavy sigh, and I'm Lanissa.
Blah, Nissa. It like uncorks a vial as you say your name, and like and you hear it vacuum into the thing, and it corks it and puts it back on the thing. On its
How many
bottle.
vials does this thing have, as an aside?
Oh, there's like a dozen or so more, like because they're buried under like muck and you know. La Nissa. Le Nissa.
Just let out another heavy sigh and just. I could our merry band get any more odd?
No, I like this. I like this skeleton guy. He seems like he's ready to learn.
Just
That's
like,
a good trait.
And like his whole body like contorts and moves and stuff. You are different, and he like looks at specifically you, Feargrim. And he like
Oh yeah, he
and his
would.
like head like turns sideways and like he doesn't have nostrils per se, but you can see the air go in where they should be on his faceplate. Sorry, his face. You are different.
What are you about?
Whost arst you?
The fear room.
Fear. 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 He grabs like from his belt and he like, fear, grim, and he puts it back. And then like his face like, and like you would roll for initiative with his like how his head like moves forward and just stops right outside your face. Fear, grim. You know us.
Oh, you know this guy?
He knows us. And he like his like head moves back. They know us.
Like his people, the Fire Slayers, know you, a skeleton in a sewer?
They know
Right.
us.
Are there any like distinguishing markings or runes or anything like that that I might be able to make sense of?
Roll a lore, I guess. I'm gonna say already, like there are distinguishing marks and like brands all about this strange skeleton, but they're like archaic. They're downright archaic and ancient. But there might be
Okay,
some.
what number am I looking for?
Actually, just a 4 still.
Okay, 4 successes.
So what happens here is like you just like you're looking at this thing and you're getting these visions of almost another life for you, like something you tried to not remember, something bad, really really bad happens, and some of these like emblems that are on this creature were there, but like nothing truly concrete shows up, just that like there's these flashes of whatever is going on. There's these flashes of some of these emblems, like they're recognizable. Not that you're recognizing this thing, but you see this like sort of like domino looking emblem, and like you're seeing like the markings on this thing's body align with some of the stuff you've seen before, but like it's not like you've seen exactly these symbols on exactly that thing, if that makes sense.
A little bit.
Yeah, just like body slamming. Good night. But I'm gonna give you a bonus thing. When it says we, us, thus, blah, talking to you.
Is it like tapping into cultural memory? Does it seem?
Yes, kid. You're getting the sense that it understands your specific plight of being an us, we, them, us, right? That's what it's tapping into specifically. Like it understands this primal thing that you just felt. This fractured spirit thing. Like when it says it's weird, disjointed, you get that. Like, and that's what you know it's talking about. It's not even like the iconography is familiar to you, but when it says it like us, you know us, you know what it is like to be an us. That's what it's saying to you.
Are you saying culturally as like a fire slayer, or are you saying like from the standpoint of soulbound?
Are you referring to it or me, the GM?
This idea of us is the identity there, the shared identity that I'm sensing.
Soulbound.
Soulbound.
It's more of the soulbound.
Yeah, it's more the twice-born thing, right?
Yeah, that's the twice-born thing is like just the twice-bound thing is so like you know how like in Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister is like called the Kingslayer, and you're like it's kind of a bad thing, right? Like it's not a reverence title. Twice-bound is not a title of reverence, and you get the weight of that reverence. Yeah, yeah, and it feels like this thing knows that when it talks about being an us.
Interesting.
Why dost thou persist? It says, and then like leans back and like moves about in this weird like marionette manner.
Is it talking specifically to Feargrim right
And
now?
now it burgeons out and like it's now talking to everybody because Feargrim's had his moment. And the party I think can visibly see your Feargrim. You don't know what's going on in his head, but you see some licks of understanding exchange between this weird skeleton, this perfect skeleton, and Feargrim.
Do you recognize something about this?
Old friend of yours.
Not that I recognize.
Well, he probably had skin then. So,
I mean, whatever souls are in him are probably very old.
So, can you help us find the other people who are missing down here? Like I said, did you see anybody? That's why we persist, to help.
Persist to help whom? Us?
Other humans. Sure, you two. You seem like an okay guy.
Persist to help. Help. And like you see his eyes like flit back and forth as if they're restudying the book you gave him. Help. Help. The book. Help. The book. Sigmar. Help. Help. Sigmar. Soul
Yep,
thief.
that's
help.
right. Gotta help Sigmar.
Soul thief helps. Soul helps. Soul helps soul. Helps soul. We know this way.
Okay, great. Can you show us where we're supposed to go?
You are who has risk quests names?
I'm Skig, like I said. Hi. Hello again.
Skig Sigmar's Skig helps.
That's right.
You us friend us. And like his voice is like you can hear this like echoey voice like reverb.
Sure.
And
Sure.
Looks at Feargrim.
I am a friend of anybody who wants to help the missing people. So if you're willing to help us, then you're a friend of mine. Even if you are a strange talking skeleton with a glowing gem in your chest keeping you alive.
It's noted
Were
that the
you
glowing
sold
gem in its chest is cracked and like a lightning bolt has gone through it. It's very
Sure.
important that it's shattered like that. And go on. Tom?
Were you soulbound?
Souls have been bound to us. We, us, bound souls. Many. Not help, like the book, but many. A try. Myriad. We ist myriad.
Well, hello, Myriad. Nice to meet you.
Myriad, well,
It's a unique name.
your lucky day.
Yeah. So, like I said, can you walk yet? Do we need to carry you, or can you just like point out the direction?
It's like arm like does the Dalsim thing where like it like unhinges and like contorts and goes down into the sand and it plucks up this like weird staff and like us weast help this.
Okay, great.
And it like points at like one of the tunnels and it puts its hand in front of it, this gem at the center of its chest, and you see this like little flicker of emerald light, and it like throws it out. Other souls, many for collect, and then like it beams off through there.
Is it like a trail we can follow?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay.
It's like Navi just like shoots down the tunnel.
Yeah, sure. Oh, perfect. This is great. Okay. Well, thanks, Myriad. We appreciate your help.
Yeah, I'll pat it on the back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like walking with you rhythmically
Oh,
and
is it?
behind
Okay.
you.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
great. Yeah, that's fine. If he stays with us, that's not gonna say anything. Like,
You know, that Myriad guy is quite a bit nicer than the other than my other encounters with the undead.
yeah, he seems like a genuinely good skeleton.
Um, y'all head down this like tunnel with this like plume of light. And I think we'll call it there for now because it's
Okay.
1 a.m.
All right.
Cool.
I was
So we-
about to add like one more completely foreboding like foreshadowing because everything pretty nice. Yeah, there's no way this could come back and hurt us.
Yeah. There's no way
No,
that
no.
there's no way that making friends with this random broken like OBR bone
Yeah.
shaper soulcaster whatever he is gonna go wrong. No, I'm sure it's all gonna work out fine.
Like a broken down, mostly kind of shattered ivory host.
Soul Mason or something, whatever he was.
Mm.
Yeah.
No way this could bite us in the ass.
Nah, this is all gonna work out fine.
It's not
You gotta
leading
put
us
your
to our
trust in
doom
other
at all.
people, you know?
Hey, Nagash is fair. He's firm, but he's fair.
He's lawful evil, like right, like he's yeah. I'm surprised you just like
Right
kill
now.
it immediately. I'm just
I-
like I was
Okay,
waiting for that
so
to
I
happen.
do indeed have a history with Nagash, right? Obviously, but I at the end of my backstory, I really did have like a philosophical kind of epiphany about it, and I determined the leader of my tribe was actually completely stupid. And I put the blame inward. I put the blame
Completely
on him, and I don't like flesh eater courts. Most notably,
Yeah, sure. They
I've never
compete for all the
interacted with
food.
OBR before, and you know,
You're at this point in the narrative of the Mortal Realms. Ossiarch Bone Reapers are still kind of like debuting, right? Like
Sure.
they're not.
No clue what it is.
Yeah.
Then.
Even if they were well known, Skeg would have no idea what the heck these things
Well,
are.
and-
So
and-
it's,
The other part of it is like this is one of the coolest things about the Legion of Nagash book and all that stuff is like basically two species helped build all the cities of Sigmar, right? It was dwarves and undead built
Sure.
everything. And
Yeah,
like Nagash was like the long con guy and he built like all these like undercities and stuff essentially. And so you just have
Nothing
these
there.
like catacombs of like craziness going on. And I had an idea for a character a long time ago, which is if you played Mass Effect, which is Legion, which is like the
exactly.
the gith that gets like removed from the Geth that gets like removed from the Geth for a long period of time. I'm like, oh, what if an Ossiarch Bone Reaper did that? And
Sure.
so meet Myriad.
Really fun exercise of.
Nice. He can pilot our
There's
ship, the Normandy 3 or whatever.
Yeah, as soon as Avener dies, and then you have to have someone pilot the ship, he's just like, this technology old, like, and he just like knows it. Yeah.
It's a fun exercise. Like every part of like even my character's being is like, just kill this. Don't trust it. But it's like, but I want to trust my friends in the party. It's like I don't trust this thing, but I trust them.
sure.
I feel like kind of an asshole for like GMing this game because like I didn't just want to have orcs
Yeah, how
be
how
murder
dare
orcs.
you? How dare you?
No, I didn't want orcs to be murder orcs, and I didn't want like you know like
No,
there's
fine. I mean, it's a different scale. When you're at the individual level, you meet individuals. Like that, they don't have to be the two-dimensional representations of the armies,
yeah
right? Like,
cardboard
yes,
cutouts,
savage.
right?
Yeah, savage orcs are savage orcs when they're in a whole big mass and it's an army game. Like that's the point, right? But when you're meeting an individual thing, an individual person, and doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of room for crazy bloodthirsty orcs
Oh yeah.
all the time.
I
Yeah, we
won't-
just killed like 20 of
Once in
them.
a while, you meet an individual and it makes it
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Well, and that's
Well,
the thing is
although
like
it's not even, I suppose, with Myriad, it's not an individual, but
yeah, right, because it's like it's like 12 different people in
Yeah.
this corpse that are trying to talk to you right now, and they have no idea how
it's a mini individual.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they have no idea. Like, Myriad is, like, just this creature with these 12 souls or 20
is this-
souls.
I suppose. Yeah, I don't want to give it away, but I was going to say, is this Null Myriad or Ivory Host?
To be
Yeah, we'll-
continued.
we'll- yeah, we'll-